I will say this: the longer we go, the windows of my car will continue to get steamed up, and people might get the wrong impression walking by.
Or the right impression.
Well, yeah, or the right impression. Depends on your point of view.
The day America turns its back on Israel will be the day God turns his back on us.
Like Kim Davis, demonize her, vilify her, mock her, ridicule her, and the American people say, no, I'm not down with that.
They don't understand the power of God.
God will not be mocked on his own land by his own people who are covenant people.
What Starbucks was doing is that they were taking specimens of male semen and they were putting it in the blends of their latte.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Utah Outcasts for the 1st of November, 2015. Can you fucking believe that the year's almost over already? I mean, seriously, we've got... It's close. It's going to be Xmas time here pretty soon. Or as the atheist might know. We don't celebrate Christmas around. We celebrate the solstice. Is it the solstice? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the solstice.
We're doing that here pretty soon, aren't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, so some of you might notice the new show intro that we just played here a second ago. Please bear with us. We're currently working on making the show more royalty-free so we don't accidentally get smacked with the cease and desist in the future or have to do any fun tap dancing around that kind of stuff. So let us know what you think. It's something that me and Kyle will both be working on here in the near future. So back to the business. This is the flagship podcast for Podhell Media. Welcome. Which you can only find at podhell.com. So when you get a second, come to the site, give us a little love. We have lots of ways for you to reach us. The email, you@podhell.com. Text or voicemail, 347-669-3377. Or you can find us on Twitter and Facebook by going to Utah Outcasts, all one word. We have episodes on YouTube, since we know that not everybody can listen to the show via streaming or on their devices. And soon, we'll be headed to Google Play Music All Access. So that's a cool new thing that Google's finally doing. They're deciding to step up to iTunes. Pretty neat. We have merchandise available through cafepress.com/Utah Outcasts. And if you're so inclined, please consider supporting us in Patreon through any capacity, $1, $5, whatever. Anybody who donates at $5 or higher gets access to the raw show files, a special members-only show that you can only listen to if you're donating to us. Details are over at patreon.com/Utah Outcasts. But don't fret. We're still going to continue to deliver the same great show to you each week on iTunes and Stitcher. And while there, please give us some feedback and a 5-star rating if you like what you're hearing. It really does help our ranking and for us to find new listeners. Anyway, back to the panel for the week. I, of course, am back from vacation. This is X. And joining us as our special guest tonight, we have Alan Zaugg, who you guys are probably wondering why he's a special guest. Well, we're going to get to that here in a minute. And coming up to my immediate right here, about 9 miles away to my butt cheek, is Kyle Steenblick, watch, play, read movie critic, and atheist extraordinaire.
Ooh, I'm extraordinaire.
Yeah, you did a great job hosting the show last week. Good job.
Hey, I didn't crash it. That's all that counts.
So anyway, what makes Alan so special is that he's currently the first person that we've had on the show that is an active theist. Believe it or not. Alan, do you care to share with people what your current beliefs are? Are you a member in good standing of the predominant religion here in Utah?
I am a member in good standing of the LDS faith, Mormon. Yes.
Awesome.
Active. Go every week.
Wow. And sorry, just shut me up there for a second. It's like, man.
Well, and
it's amazing. We can all be friends.
Before we get further into this, I feel a little left out, because if Kyle's 9 miles to your butt cheek, where do I fit?
Let's see. You're in the great city of Layton, so you could be anywhere from 2 blocks away from me to, God, Layton stretches out there, doesn't it? It goes way out to almost, it goes almost to Kaysville.
Well, I just figured you'd continue anatomy here. Kyle's butt cheek, so I've got to fit somewhere else in between.
I think that would make that. What's it called? The perineum.
He's on the perineum. He's on my perineum. See how dark it.
Oh my gosh!
Well, anyway, we'll get to it here in a minute. Alan's is actually a listener who listens pretty much every week, from what I understand, and we're really glad to have him on the show. We're gonna talk about things here in a little bit, because it's gonna be interesting to get into what he believes and why he believes. And all this other fun stuff. But
before we get going too far, Alan, tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm pretty much a Jedi Zaugg across the social media universe. You can find me Jedi Zaugg on Twitter, Jedi Zaugg on Facebook, Alan Zaugg on Google. Yeah.
Tweet a lot too.
Yeah. I do tweet quite a bit. I've been part of Twitter for a while now, and then it ends up being my out, honestly, and it ends up being my social out when I can't speak and can't say things. It's a good place for me to go just to chit chat and go off about some of my passions and love. So I tweet a lot. So
yeah, I use that as my X for Read my main persona out on the internet, because I don't dare say a lot of stuff I really want to say on Facebook.
Well, and that used to be that way. I've tried to be a little better, but it is. I mean, Twitter came around because of my passions, because of the Utah Jazz, because of Star Wars, because of some of the things that I love in life. I enjoy getting out there and interacting with the community of people that share the same passions and loves that I do. So it's kind of become, like I said, my social out, and it's been a good little place to do. So, but yeah, it's fun. What can I say?
Yeah, and you'll have to forgive. I mean, he's got great sound quality where he's coming from, but he is currently doing this show from his car in the rain here, since it is raining in our neck of the woods. And so you'll have to forgive the sound quality. If you guys hate it, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a fucking deal. It's a free show. Shut up.
I'm riding shotgun.
Anyway, yeah. So let's see. Before we catch up with what everybody's been doing for the week, let's get the Atheist of Utah events out of the way. I unfortunately missed the trunk or treat and the Halloween party, which I heard was a ghastly good time.
Both were great. There was a huge turnout for the Halloween party, which we talked about a lot last week.
About people crashing the party and coughing up the membership anyway, which was really cool.
Yeah, we had a couple of people who crashed the party and then decided to join up. And then a couple of people who crashed the party and had no idea what was going on.
You guys might want to keep an eye on the Atheist of Utah Facebook page and the Atheist of Utah website. It's really not hard to find. You put either one of those in the Google and you'll find it. Keep in mind though that the Atheist of Utah unofficial is the 3,000 plus strong Facebook group where a lot of the stuff that Kyle, Felicia, and I talk about a lot of the time on the show. Just it's fun little rigmarole that everybody else is going through. It's like seriously like a forum for the Atheist of Utah, but it is unofficial because it's not manned by anybody from the board. But it's just easier for us to keep the name that way. We have the Flying Spaghetti Monster Dinner coming up on November 24th. More details to come for that. We have a solstice party coming up in December. Felicia talked about, and as always, we have coffee on Thursdays.
I think this week
where are we currently doing it?
Location is flexible, but I think this week it's at Matisa again.
Oh, okay. And we do have the gala coming up, but that's something we will talk about in the future because it's still a ways off.
Yeah, February.
And we don't have Felicia here, who is really plugged into everything to give us all that information. But anyway, let's see. Before I go into my however long it's going to take me to get to talk about the cruise that I went on, I want to hear about what you guys have been up to for the week. Alan, what have you been doing, man?
Oh,
that much, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. No, just keeping up on just life, man. Just getting ready for Star Wars. That's my gig right now, and sports and yeah. Dude, Halloween's not my gig. I really don't care much for it. It's candy, and that's about it. My kids like it. I don't even dress up. I just go out with them and let them go around and do some trick or treating, and that's about as good as it gets for me. If it were up to me, I'd just sit at home and chill. So.
Yeah, I put on my Vader t-shirt and I had a cheap ass mask that I bought from like a party store, the Darth Vader mask. It fogs up if you leave it on for too long, so I ended up wearing it on my head most of the night. but it is really for the kids, and it really fucking pisses me off when I see like all sorts of shittily dressed teenagers showing up in the front porch trying to get candy. It's like, come on, guys. Really?
Yes.
And I didn't understand it when I was younger, when I was still trick-or-treating or anything, but I get it now as an adult. It's like, man, this is meant for like kids like from like 6 months to 9 or 10 years. Like anybody older than that really should be able to get their own candy and or go to fucking parties. Don't go trick-or-treating. That's for little kids, man. I could just be Mr. Poopy Pants and, go fucking lighten up, X. But I saw people walking around without even costumes on. Like they just had like their normal clothes and they were carrying around a pillowcase and stuff. Or the lazy ass teenagers walking around wearing Guy Fawkes masks.
Oh,
Come on.
Yeah, I love those guys.
And teenagers going around don't bother me much. It's when teenagers start getting into the prankster modes, when they're doing that on kids and even on the trick-or-treat houses and messing around with pumpkins and stuff. It's like, guys, you want to go have fun, go with your groups, go find a place to be safe and have fun. And seriously, just leave the kids and the families and the homes alone, because it's just not worth your
we
time.
had somebody steal our pumpkins one year before Halloween even got here. We were fucking pissed.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's silly.
My oldest at the time was like, "Who the hell even does that? Who steals pumpkins?" And she was like 5 at the time, so we're raising that kid right. Let me tell you. So, what about you, Kyle? What have you been up to, man?
Oh, jeez. Well, there's Halloween, which when you have kids occupies much more than just a single day.
Oh no, yeah, definitely.
I went out to the trunk or treat, which is a lot of fun. There was a pretty good turnout there. I gotta tell you, my oldest was just ecstatic when we told her what it was, because she actually understands now what atheists are. So she was thrilled to go out and be able to run around with other kids in the same boat.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, she's just happy. Oh, other kids that don't go to church? I'm not alone. Yay.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids ask me every once in a while, why don't we go to church? I'm like, well, do you want to be bored for 3 hours?
Yeah, mine used to ask that until they went to a church service. Unfortunately, it was a funeral service. But yeah, it's not really that different. So yeah, they kind of got the gist of it, and they went, yeah, no, why would anybody do that?
Yeah, Alan, why would anybody do that?
Well, I don't know, because I like it. But I'm seriously, I'm wondering what would happen if one of your kids did decide once they were a little older to start going, what the two of you would do. I think you'd be scrambling.
No, I don't. I would hope that and this isn't coming down on you or anything, but I would hope that I would teach them enough critical thinking skills that they would hear a lot of this stuff and they're like, that doesn't sound plausible.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound right.
I'm fully expecting when both of mine get old enough, they're going to have a friend who wants to take them along, and I'm going to encourage them to go because
they need the experience.
They need that experience, but they can make up their own minds.
Yeah.
Well, when they're 18, they can make up their own minds.
That's okay. I did flip the fuck out when the mother-in-law bought my daughter a Book of Mormon. I'm like, seriously, she can't even read yet. Come on.
Well, and like I said, that in the end, that's it, Kyle. You hit it on the nose. It's like, man, if my kids want to make a decision one way or another, you know what? We're a parent, and we just learn. Sometimes it's best to just support them. You tell them what you know, you teach them what you know, and then just let them go. Let them experience it.
You let them live their life.
Yeah, let them support them in whatever they do. Let them do their thing, and you support them. That's the way I see it.
Unless they become country music fans, then
we'll have a problem. There are lines in the sand that you just can't cross.
I will agree.
Church is fine. Yeah, church is fine. Garth Brooks, no.
No. Yes, I'm with you on both on that one.
Holy shit!
If country music happens, they're not allowed. They're leaving.
For people that are listening outside of Utah, and this isn't specifically Utah-based podcast, we want to let you guys know that. But Garth Brooks was on tour here like this weekend, and for some reason it hit like every major news organization here in Utah. Like, okay, yeah, that's great. He's doing a concert, wonderful. I mean, I honestly can't name but maybe one of the songs, only because I got it beat into me when I was a kid living in the South. But beyond that, it's like, why is this big news? And then I remember, oh yeah, we live in Utah. There's not much else going on here, is there? Oh, except for people killing each other in West Valley and all that other fun stuff.
Well, and it's big news because he hasn't been here in almost 2 decades. So and he did what, 4 shows in 2 nights. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Garth fucking Brooks, man. Okay, so anyway, Kyle might recall, and you guys might know and be happy to hear this, and I'm sad that Alan has to listen to it live. He doesn't get to listen to it on the show and giggle when he's listening on the podcast. But I went on a Disney cruise this last week and a half. And I mean, I wasn't on the cruise that long, but traveling to Florida from Utah and back again kind of eats up like 3 days, especially when you leave on a red eye on one night. And okay, so the ordeal of getting there and back isn't really mainly what I'm going to talk about here, but I took down a whole bunch of notes as I was flying back about stuff that I want to talk about. First of all, I sweated the whole fucking time I was down there. I was at sea level, and it was Miami, like leaving Miami, and I didn't realize. I mean, I know I'm pretty good with geography, but I didn't realize that Miami was literally the dickhole of America's wing. Like, it is the tippity tip of America's dick. It's really right there. Like you could just hop in the ocean and be gone. You know.
What does that make the Keys?
You know what that makes them.
Oh, you just went there. Oh man.
But we traveled from Miami to we went around Cuba, which was kind of cool, and we arrived at the what the hell are they called? The Grand Cayman Islands. And I don't see what was so grand about them except for like free roaming chickens and poverty. But we did get to go to like a what was it? It was a turtle ranch that we went to. It was kind of cool to see the giant sea turtles and everything, but I'd been to Cancun, so I'd have already seen that kind of thing before. It was
a sea turtle ranch?
Yeah, it was like they have like a breeding area where it's like this little beach where they can go into to.
Wait, but they actually called it a ranch.
Well, it's not a ranch. It's
I was gonna say, did they have like sea cowboys?
They have like little saddles they put on them. And, I don't know, man. Some of the sea turtles are almost as big as a person. They're fucking huge.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, you have the little tiny little baby ones, and they're kind of cute. But you see the big ones, and they come up for their one breath every minute or so. It's like, and they take their breath and they go back under. It scares the shit out of you the first time you hear it. But anyway, so I was on the boat, and you want to talk about a big fucking boat? This wasn't even the biggest of their fleet, but it was like 11 stories tall, like not including like engine room and everything underneath, but. Let's see. We had some roommates that were next door to us, and I bring up the fact that they're Muslim, not for any kind of racial reason, because, you know, being Muslim isn't a race. But Jesus Christ, their culture was so much different than ours because they were loud as fuck all hours of the night, and like they congregated like outside their rooms, like they sat outside the room, like sitting by their door, talking to each other across the halls. And it's like, guys, come on, you know. You can go into their room, right? You know that? You can go into somebody else's room and talk with them. You know, that is okay. But these ladies were wearing hijab the whole time. And when we went to the Disney beach that we went to, they were on the beach wearing the hijab and long sleeves and long pants the whole time. And I'm a 250-pound plus fat guy sweating even when I'm wearing a tank top, and these ladies were walking around the fucking beach wearing this stuff with like life jackets on and everything, going into the water, and it's like, fuck your culture, man. They're making you go out that kind of shit. God.
How do you swim in that? I mean, I've been in the water fully clothed before, and that drags you down.
Yeah, it must have been like some sort of light fabric or something like that. Oh man, but let's see. I ate some of the most spectacular food in my life. I mean, I've never been on a cruise before, so I have nothing to gauge it against. But the food on this trip was just 5-star. Like everything that I ate was spectacular and amazing. Like I tried escargot for the first time, which was fantastic. People might think, ew, snails, but no, you can't taste anything but butter and garlic anyway. Mm-hmm. It's like an oyster. Let's see. I like structure and schedules way too much to ever take time off, I realized on this trip. I like the rigmarole of having 9-hour work days and, you know, get done with that and do stuff on the show and have this day to do this day to do that. And time off, I found myself going, okay, now what? Now what? Now what? And so, I mean, if you like Disney, this is the thing to go on, but I felt like it was way too much Disney. I'd never have quite realized that a lot of Disney fans are damn near cultish.
Oh, yeah.
Love me. I mean, there was a lady that was dressed up as like the, I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Disney fairies, but they had a pirate fairy one. This lady was dressed like her the whole trip, and she has like And I saw her at the beach, and she was wearing like an Ariel swimsuit and had like all these Disney tattoos. And I'm like, fuck, man, that's dedication. Go you. I mean, I'm glad you really enjoy it and everything. I mean, as they're buying up all my favorite stuff, I'm becoming more of a Disney person, like Star Wars.
So are you saying she really, really loved the D?
She really loved the D. They had a full theater, like a live theater that you can go watch shows on. And they had also like a full like movie theater on the ship that you can go watch movies on. So I watched Ant-Man twice on this trip.
Oh, that's right there.
Yeah, that brings it up to...
Yeah, win-win right there.
That's 4 times that I've seen this movie. So I've seen this movie more than any other movie in the theaters ever. So it's currently my leaderboard movie. So,
and it probably hasn't gotten any worse each time either, has it?
No, it's I've laughed at more stuff, in fact, and I was really happy to watch it the last time I saw it with my kids, as I was watching it with Spanish subtitles. Because, I mean, that might sound kind of weird, but when I was watching the after credit scene, and sorry, spoilers for you people that aren't up on the know, but they had this spoiler for Civil War. And when, what is it? Not Bucky. Bucky's caught in the vice, but it's Falcon talking to Cap, yes, talking about the Accords won't let us do this kind of thing. You think Accords, and you're like, oh, well, they must have something worked out with Tony or something like that. No, Accords was a proper noun. Mm-hmm. It was capitalized. So that had me going, But anyway, let's see. Continuing on. People in Utah are way too fucking sheltered. You guys don't honestly have any idea what the big world is like unless you've been into it. And I only stepped into it for a week, but I went to a grown-up liquor store, and it was like me being a kid in a candy store. Things were just generally cheap all around, and there was a section of beer that was about the size of like 6 Walmart aisles of beer, different beers.
Yeah, those are those are just
packs.
Yeah, those are awesome.
I ate too much every day. Mm-hmm. Literally, ice cream was becoming a condiment.
And I'm learning more and more from this story you're telling. You don't get out much, do you?
Besides working and keeping my head down and everything, this is like the first vacation I've taken in 10 years. Like, dude, besides getting married and everything like that, yeah. I mean, it would have been great if I didn't have to take the kids with me. But no. Let's see. Drinking on the boat was completely retarded. Yes, I said retarded. Get over it. No less than like $6 a drink. Which, I mean,
so it's like you're home again.
It's like you're at a bar, really, but it's actually like more open pour than anything. So I had a whole bunch of Jameson and beer shots. I mean, it was great that I could get a beer and a shot at the same time. That was nice.
And not have to watch you to make sure you drink it before they give you the beer.
Let's see. I ate too much. Oh, I already said that one. I'm addicted to the internet because when I got on the boat, the internet went away. Oh, you could pay for internet if you wanted to. If you wanted to pay 25 cents a megabyte.
Oh,
holy crap!
Yeah. I was like, or you could buy like a structured plan, like $20 for like half a gig or something like that. And I'm like, no, that's okay. I'll go without. So when I finally got my phone back on when I hit land in Miami again, it took my phone quite a while to pick up on like 180 emails and like 60 Facebook notifications and everything. And I just realized how unplugged I was until I turned it back on. It was kind of nice to get to see all sorts of people of all nations, creeds, and like races get together and celebrate their inner child on the boat, which was kind of neat. Like everybody was all getting all together just to celebrate this dumb little company that creates cartoons and movies and everything, and just really enjoying it. It's kind of cool. Let's see. I had a good time when I was at the Grand Cayman. I forgot to talk about this guy. There was a dude driving our minibus. He was wearing a Captain America t-shirt. And of course I'm going to be like, well, I need to talk with this guy about this. Like, is he wearing this just because it's a thing that's finally migrated down here or whatever? So I said if he's read the comics or watched the movies, and he said, yeah. And I asked if he was from there. I'm like, so have you lived here your whole life? And he's like, no, I'm from Jamaica. And I'm not going to dare to try to do the Jamaican accent because I'll sound like Hermes from But he was a real nice guy. And he said that he's currently waiting for his visa to come through so he can come live in America. And I'm like, oh, cool. Well, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. There's a shitload of jobs in America. You just have to be willing to work. He's like, oh, I know. But his visa, that when it comes through, he's going to be going to New York. So that's going from like this really humble town in Grand Cayman to going to the busiest damn city in the world. And it's like, that's going to be culture shock, man.
Welcome to America.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is a great guy, but I'm like, man, best of luck to you. I'm going to go back to quiet Utah where nothing much is going on. It was interesting to think to myself, like, at a couple of times, like when I was at the turtle farm that I was talking about, they had a tourist like swimming area. It was like just a giant, regular chlorine pool with a slide for kids to go on and, swimming for everybody else. And I have to keep reminding myself, I'm in a foreign country at a pool. Why am I doing this? Why can't I could do this at home, can't I? I just had to really think about it. Let's see, more food stuff, lots of food. I mean, I had a great beef Wellington. There was a black truffle pasta purse with like soft Italian cheese and the champagne sauce. Jesus, man, the food was so good. My kids cried every night because they're so used to schedule. Like when we let them stay up later, they don't know how to process it. And and my final thing that I was going to talk about here is that going on a Disney cruise makes me, and going on traveling between all these places in America makes me kind of go, fuck capitalism. It really turns you off pretty bad. Because not only do they do compulsive gratuities, like you don't like have to like hand each person that brings you something like money, because they figure it into your bill as you're on the ship, like, and you have to pay like $60 a person for tips for like your wait staff and everything, and it really is worth it because it treats you really nice. But like anytime I bought some alcohol or anything like that, you had to pay extra gratuity on top of it. It was like an already included 15% for whatever you bought for drinks or like additional like food item kind of things. I mean, food was all inclusive, but certain foods cost more. But let's see, we went to the airport systems are fucking broken. I'm tired of that way of doing things because it's just a whole bunch of hurry up and wait, and they charge you out the ass for everything that you might need past the security checkpoint. Let's see. I don't know. It's just really crazy, and I'm tired of like when we went to the beach to go swimming. This was on the Bahamas island, and everybody's listening right now. Oh, fuck you! I wish I could go on vacation. Yeah, I get it. I really do. But like to rent snorkel gear to go snorkeling was like $35. And it's like, man, I could have bought a really good set and brought them with me for that kind of money. But the fact that I didn't now means you're going to charge me out the ass for it. So I didn't go snorkeling. But I don't know. It's just the way supply and demand works a lot of the times. It just fucking aggravates me because they want to screw you over as much as they possibly can before you actually scream on them.
Well, the whole concept of supply and demand only works if you don't control the supply.
Yeah.
And most of these guys control the supply too, so
it just really turned me off. It was like, ugh. I'm like, this is how we're choosing to do things in America. I mean, it's like, yeah, you know what? If you can come up with a better price point for doing things, where everybody goes, oh, well, that's cool, instead of just bending somebody over a barrel and going, I'm gonna fuck you hard,
Well, and then you work into that nasty thing called inflation, and it sucks even worse. So whatever.
Yeah, maybe I just wasn't ready to be that guy on vacation, because I mean I'm fairly frugal when it comes to a lot of things. I'll throw money at T-shirts. I'll throw money at drinks here and there, and I'll buy things on the internet every once in a while. But like when it comes to like going on a trip somewhere, it's like I had family members that were paying, like they got their bill at the end of the trip and they had spent like $600 on drinks. And I spent maybe like 120 at the most, and I felt like I did enough. But like when I look at their bill and I'm like, God, man, like $500, that could have bought you like this, that, and the other thing. And I always think in those terms instead of, just relax and have a good time kind of terms. I don't know. I couch my future money versus what my current money is, and it messes me up.
I'm the same way. I go vacationing a lot, and I go to Disneyland, and I come outside of Disneyland and go eat at a restaurant across the street, and suddenly realizing I'm paying 20% more than I do in Utah. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing to me here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just if you go to Disneyland, the trick is to eat salads.
Yes, but even a salad that's normally $5 here in Utah is like $10 there. So whatever.
Yeah, but it's pretty big, and it'll do you.
One big plus from the trip that I had was a night spent before we even got on the boat because we arrived in Miami early. I had a talk with somebody in the family. I'm not going to say who it was because they might be listening or not. Who is no longer in the church? Who has come out and is essentially an atheist? So that was kind of interesting. Exactly, George Jetson. But yeah, it was kind of cool to sit there and talk with this person for a good couple of hours about the why I am this way and why he is coming around to this way. Oh wait, I said a pronoun. My bad. Anyway, not enough people listen to this. You guys don't give a shit. Anyway, it's kind of cool to have that little bit come out. But I mean, it was a generally stressful trip. I mean, when it's a trip is so stressful that you come home from it wondering if you're going to be married again, if you're still going to be with the person you're with, especially because you just got done dragging 3 children around the Caribbean.
That's not standard, right?
That is standard, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm glad to hear, Kyle, I'm not the only one. Alan, do you ever run into marital strife when you go on vacation?
What is that?
Not.
What is this thing you're talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Just in case wife is listening. No,
atheist show. She doesn't listen to this.
No, it's.
Alan,
hey.
how dare you talk to those evil people?
Oh boy.
I don't know your wife. I'm just talking with you, man.
No, it's what it's. I don't know what it is about vacation because it's supposed to be that time you and the family get to enjoy, but there's always going to be that strife. There's always going to be those moments, and it's usually money related. Am I right?
For me, it wasn't money. It was just, for the most part, it was like anger directed towards stuff that I had no control over. Like kids are upset, and I'm trying to. I'm still the biggest problems that come for me was that the ways of parenting. Like I'm very strict, and I'm not like an asshole dad where I'm like, no, you can't do this, no, no. Just like I like things done in a certain way, and I like my kids to listen, and they don't. So, welcome to being a parent. Yay!
Yeah.
Seriously, anybody listening right now that's in their 20s is thinking about having a kid. Don't wait till you're in your 30s, or at least enjoy the time that you have with your wife at the time. Because once you have that child, you slip down the totem pole.
Oh yes, you do.
That's something I need to give you guys as a public safety announcement. When it's you and your wife and you're all together, you guys you're the top level of importance to that person. Once children come into the picture, you slide down. People might try to say, "Oh, but no, you're as important." No, you're really not.
No. And when you go and try and give your wife a kiss or a hug, and you find that she's carrying baggage, and it's baggage as in kids hanging from side to side from her while she's trying to kiss you. Yeah, welcome to the world of parenting. Because yes, as a father, you are second rate now. Period.
Yep. Yep. Your life becomes making that significant other's life as less hectic as it could possibly be, which it doesn't ever change. Probably not even until you probably have a good couple of years between adulthood and grandkids, but then the grandkids happen. And then
yeah, but the grandkids, you can spoil them and send them back home, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I can't wait to happen, because that shit's happened to me. You know what? Parenting and grandparenting is a giant game of you fucked me, now I fuck you.
I can't help but feel just a little bit lucky anytime I hear that kind of thing, because the way things worked out with me and my wife, we didn't really have very long before we had kids.
Oh, so neither did we. We were married. I mean, we've been together.
Yeah, we didn't have very long, so it was just. We just went right into that, apparently.
My goodness, Kyle, what are you saying?
I'm not saying anything other than it might
I trapped you.
It might wind up being a little awkward when our daughter actually looks at her birth date and her wedding date and does the math.
Well, I'm in the same boat as you, Cal, because we went right
pretty soon.
We went right into it too. So my oldest is. I think we've done the same thing with her and actually looked at dates for that very reason. So yes, it's happened.
Oh, it sounds like the same thing for my older brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, and I don't even mean to make that sound like it might even slightly be a bad thing, because it sure as hell is not a bad thing. Because we've been married we're coming up on 10 years, in exactly a month, give or take a day or two. We have been married about 10 years. So it's not really a bad thing.
No.
So if you have a choice, kids, when you find somebody you like dating, you go ahead and just start having kids right then. Because it's going to work out much better. Because then you're not going to know what it's like to just not have kids, and you won't miss it.
Or just don't have kids.
Yeah.
For your whole time together, just don't.
This goes back to the beginning statement Chris said. Yeah, everybody, man, you just get used to the fact that when you have kids, you're either second rate or just don't have kids. There you go.
Yeah,
you have two choices.
It's really, and I had one or the other. Either start right away, or
as I listened to the Republican debate that happened this week, they were talking a lot about family being the focus of everything, and we're going to definitely get into that here more in a minute. But they were talking about how they're talking about increasing the child tax credit and everything. And I have single friends that I listen to other podcasts that are on, and Mr. Ryan Duffy that was on here one time. He's like, "Oh, well, as a single guy, I get fucked. My macaroni and cheese is expensive," and it's like, not as expensive as supplying you for 3 other kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
I welcome that child tax credit, people. Yes, please bring it on.
Single people out there, people without kids might be harping at us or yelling at whatever device they have right now. Oh, fuck you guys and your kids. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it costs a shitload of money throughout the year for me to have that kid, and I'm gonna take every credit that I fucking can.
Yeah, you remember when you didn't have kids and you heard people who did talk about how expensive kids were?
Yeah. It's underrated.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, everybody who talks about how expensive kids are, they're seriously downplaying it because they don't want to make you feel too bad.
As the guy that had to schlep home for like 2,000, maybe 3,000 miles, like additional Disney baubles and shit that kids wanted to buy while we were there, shit's expensive, man. Like, a bucket of popcorn, $4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but you can get into the commemorative Zero the dog, like trick-or-treating box, for $17.80.
Yeah. Try explaining to the 17-year-old that it's the same thing in a different bucket.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, that doesn't count the cost of fixing everything that's broken either.
Yeah.
Or the emotional damage. Don't forget the emotional damage. Yeah.
I just had to drag these giant heaps of plastic all the way home. And it's like when we were having Pirates on the Caribbean, not Pirates of the Caribbean, but Pirates in the Caribbean. When we were having dinner that night, they had these stupid, and Kyle might remember from when I went to Rainforest Cafe and I came home with my party mug, where it had all the LED lights at the bottom of it, and I'm like, my party glass, and I thought it was so exciting and everything. Yeah, I had to buy 3 individual ones of those, and they were like $9 just for the glass. The drink is extra.
Yeah.
Disney has it down to a fucking science how to take as much money from you as they possibly can. Don't get it twisted. And for some stuff, I don't mind, but when it comes to throw away cheap pieces of plastic, I get so fucking agitated.
And now they own Star Wars. They're going to be taking more of my money.
Oh man, I have bought $70 or $80 worth of T-shirts already. And they're nice, and I love it. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't think I had maybe like 2 Star Wars shirts in my whole collection for years, But now I've got like 12 or 13 of them, so it's great. I love having a job where I can dress casually. I'm lucky.
Amen.
So we do have news to get to, and unfortunately, we'll probably have to wait until the third segment to get to it because we have to take a break here real quick. We will be back with our favorite segment of the week, which is the fun with real audio. We're going to come up with a different title for it because that makes me just think of old Saturday Night Live episodes where they had the ambiguously gay duo and all that other fun stuff. So anyway, we'll catch you guys here in a second with the next segment. But until then, enjoy this quick little break.
Are you tired of hearing the same old depressing news?
Exhausted with the state of the world and see no hope for its future?
Then why not escape reality with the Atheist Apocalypse podcast?
Come meet the people in the mysterious events of the Tri-Counties, where the despair is hilarious and the baseless hopelessness is scarce.
A fictional comedy audio story, unlike anything in the podcasting realm. Atheist Apocalypse will take you away from your daily woes while informing you about the secret plot to take over the planet.
Stupid. Don't tell the listeners of the show that. They're not ready.
Sorry, I thought they should know.
You're an idiot. They need to listen to Atheist Apocalypse first. Otherwise, they'll be unprepared for the news.
If your podcast lineup needs some comedy, or even if it doesn't, add Atheist Apocalypse Podcast to your queue to enjoy our bi-weekly adventures with the wacky cast and crew. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube, or find all the information you need at atheistapocalypse.com.
Okay, and we're back. And this is our Fun with Real Audio segment. Like I said, we're working on a name for that. If you have a suggestion, please send it to us, uo@podhell.com, 347-669-3377. Lots of ways for you to get in touch with us. We are going to jump into... Oh, man, we've got so many segments to talk about here, especially concerning the what is it, American Family, what is it, Family Heritage?
World Congress.
World Congress of Families being in Utah this last week. But before we get to them, and we're not going to do Cockbiter of the Week because, I don't know, it seems forced. But we're going to listen to a clip from one of my least favorite people in this world, and I hate giving the guy airtime, but he just says some of the most heinous shit. And it's going to come into play in third act of the show here, so hang on 1 second.
Guys, it's Josh Fishline here. Look, I'm going to tell you why Chris...
Whoops, sorry, that's a bit loud. Let me turn that down a little bit.
Should not only be mad at hell, but be mad at hell. Do you guys realize that this week, in fact, just today, that Coach Kennedy was kicked off of his high school football team? Why? Because he prayed after the game. Seriously, guys, this is absolutely ridiculous. You can see that the beginning of the culture and the tide is turning against Christianity in this country, and I've been telling you all along, it's the beginning of what I call the Christian Holocaust.
Christian Holocaust, because this coach got in trouble, and like I said, Act 3, we'll get to more in detail, but for the fact that the guy's using a publicly sponsored field and group and team, with public money, not with personal money, to hold everybody hostage with prayers at the 50-yard line.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that he was told by the school district.
By the district to stop.
Yeah, please don't do this because it is... you're acting in official capacity and you're compelling students to participate where they may not feel comfortable doing so.
So, I mean, Josh Furstein here didn't go full Godwin, but he did invoke the Holocaust.
I think invoking the Holocaust is that's close
Godwin,
enough.
right?
Yeah, that's Godwin. He went full Godwin. Might as well.
So at this point, Mr. Vertical Video still doesn't fucking know how to turn his phone to the side. And you guys can't see it because you're just listening to audio here. But the guy, need I remind you people, he put out a fundraiser, like a Kickstarter, not a Kickstarter, whatever, like GoFundMe or whatever the hell you call it, whatever the Christian equivalent of that is, for him to be able to buy a Red 1 camera. Now, I'm going to give you guys a second here to go out and Google that on your own. But a Red 1 camera is really fucking expensive.
Really, really expensive.
And completely unnecessary for doing YouTubes.
Well, no,
or Facebook
he
videos.
wouldn't know what to do with it if he had it.
No, this is the kind of camera where it replaces Hollywood film cameras, like the old Panavision cameras and stuff like that.
It would be like giving this guy a library card. He wouldn't know what to do with it.
So anyway, Christian Holocaust.
You better get ready for persecution because now it's just blatant. You know, I think I've got a problem. I've got a problem not only with Bremerton High School, which I'm going to encourage you to call and ring their phones off the hook until they bring Coach Kennedy back, but I got a problem when it seems like even the LGBT community has more courage than Christians do. You know, one of ours is being attacked, and it's time that we stand up and we speak out. It's time that we get the word out. It's time that we make some noise. It's time that we be loud and proud of.
Fuck, he's hard to interrupt. Jeez, man. Like, he does not take a breath. I swear. Like, he must be running off of, like, a secondary air system or something. Like Immortan Joe or something like that. I don't know what the hell this guy's got going on. But that's all I'm going to get from him. But he's talking about how we have one of our own. Bitch, please. You can't even, like, you're probably, whatever form of Christianity you have is not the same as his. So don't even try to pretend that you're on the same team. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, you guys have a common belief in the one giant belief that you have there, you're not on the same page about everything. You guys have so many sects of Christianity, it's not even fucking funny. It is laughable to me that he thinks that everybody's on the same page. Now, to parse that along with the LGBT community, yes, there are different communities within the LGBT. I mean, that's why there's 4 letters there. I mean, it's not even just LGBT. There's the QQA, what is it, the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, and asexual, and among other ones. It's a rainbow, people. But the fact that they can band together and do this kind of thing speaks volumes higher than your guys' Christianity. If you guys were all literally on the same page with the numbers of people that you have in this country, I don't understand how you guys haven't gotten things done. They're getting things done more than our atheist crowd, which Nick Fish, I will have to put this up on the feed when I get a chance to. And you guys talked about it last episode, but get out there and fucking vote. Because if we had the atheist vote in the levels that the evangelical Christians did, we'd be having a lot more purple in this country.
Everything would look much different. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all I'm going to give time for Josh Feuerstein, but
that's more time than he deserves.
Yeah, and he's probably going to be like, "Oh, I love you, God bless," and blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, shut up. You made a video of showing your kid like shooting a target and like acting like, oh man, this guy's just reprehensible across the board. Wow. And I don't know if you ever caught the video of him being on The Doctors. He was on like daytime television because he was going up against the father that was elated that his boy picked out a Little Mermaid toy.
Yeah.
Like, he went on there talking about how, well, you know, gender roles, this and that, and it's my job as a parent, blah, blah, blah. And the dude that let his kid buy whatever toy he wanted, he's like, no, you're wrong. Like, you need to just let your kid make his own decisions. And he's like, no, as his dad, it's my job to make all the decisions. It's like, and like all the doctors on the stage, especially ones that are concerned with mental health and kids' well-being and everything. It's like, no, actually, you're completely wrong here, buddy. So it was great to see him make a fool of himself on national television because he does it on the internet all the fucking time. So
yeah. The only difference is no one can respond to him while he's recording his videos in his car.
No, with his vertical video.
Yeah, why does he do all his videos in his car?
Gee, I wonder. Alan?
Mr. Recording.
Wow.
I've thought of doing videos in the car too, but
did you just bring me into this with the whole car and the video? It just wow.
Well, I didn't directly compare you to Josh.
I was going to say, please don't compare me to him because I'm sitting here listening to the clip you're playing and listening to everything, and I'm just shaking my head, going, "Wow."
Have you never heard him before?
On your podcast, when you've played him before, I have heard of him. Otherwise, no.
He's a bit of an anti-superstar in the atheist world because we love. He's one of those people that you just love to hate.
No, I hate to hate the
fact that I know
Kevin James.
Like you said a minute ago, you're surprised you give him any airtime, and based on the sound of his voice plus everything you say afterwards, I am surprised you give him airtime, to be honest. But you know,
I make sure that whenever I click any of his videos, I do a do not follow like website thing to get there, so he doesn't get credit for it.
Switch to incognito and do not follow and go. Yep.
Nice.
Now, since we're talking Godwin here, and this is Kyle and Alan don't know because I stuck these clips in here at the last minute, but I have one where we have someone comparing America is copying Nazi Germany. So we have Godwin continued here. So let's go.
Watching now an administration, and there have been administrations before this administration, but we're watching kind of the exclamation point on the end of the sentence, I say. We're watching this fundamental agenda here is to take the guns, to control the guns down to a point that then the population can be brought into whatever submission somebody wants it brought into.
Okay, if the military really wanted to corral this country, they could do it relatively fucking easy because they have much bigger weapons than guns. They have more than just guns,
Yeah. No, the handgun you have in your night dresser is not going to do any good.
Yeah, it'll be a real pain in the ass, and it won't be very fun for either party involved. But, at the same time, you're not going to have a large block of the citizenry being taken over by a military that is made up of the fucking citizenry. If these people think more than two sentences past whatever they're saying, and we have a president that, even after the murder of little kids in a school, nothing fucking happened. The dude has the power to sign executive orders to go well beyond what everybody thinks that he should be doing as a constitutional president, whatever they want to fucking call it on the right. But even after the murder of a whole bunch of little kids in the school, nothing happened. He's coming for your guns. No, he fucking isn't. No, he really is not. God, I hate the right sometimes so fucking hard. I hate him. What else does he have to say?
Point out in my book the historical background to this. Every nation that has eventually and finally either enslaved its people or Nazi Germany just eliminated and exterminated whole sections of the undesirable population. They began, watch this, they didn't begin
with the Catholic Church? And I know he's probably going to go into the whole, well, you had Soviet Union where they took away people's guns, and all of a sudden Stalin murders all these people, and in China this and that and the other thing. And I want to go, well, what about Canada? What about Australia? What about Japan?
What they fail to mention is in all of these countries they didn't start with their citizens having all those guns in the first place. So none of them had constitutions which allowed an armed
This
citizenry.
may be a bit unsavory to some people listening locally here, but the story that you have recently of the father that shot the dude that was like banging on the door, and after he'd been shot by the guy that was banging on the door, you guys probably know what I'm talking about, but that seemed to me a whole bunch like the whole Trayvon Martin thing and like the whatever the hell his name, George Zimmerman kind of thing. He banged on your door. Yeah. Probably tried to break in. Yeah. Did you call the cops? Yeah. But what else did he do? He went after him. Don't fucking go after people like that. You're not Axel Foley. You're not a cop. You're not somebody that's going to bust the bad guy. And you don't know what the dude could have been carrying or what he'd been on, what he was doing. It's like, I get the fact that you think you're protecting your family and your everything, your possessions and everything, but you know what? They can have anything in my fucking house they want as long as I don't die. And to some religious people out there, yeah, you might have something going on after this. I don't fucking know, but at the same time, I know as an atheist, this is pretty much all I got. And if someone's going to cut my life short, I'd rather it for something more worthy than some fucking meth head or heroin dude that did tattoos and had neck and face tattoos and shitty rapping and all that. I don't know.
No, yeah, you can have anything in my house, except maybe my hard drives. You can't have those.
Yeah, because I need to erase those before you get to them. There's stuff I need to do in my history.
Hang on. Let me burn that. Let me burn some things to a disk, and then you can have them.
I need to set up like that whole dead man switch that you hear in like sci-fi stuff, where like as soon as my heart stops, like my browser history is clear deleted.
But seriously, isn't it always the police that are that are quoted publicly as saying, look, don't engage, don't follow, don't go after. Why shouldn't that apply in our own homes and everything else as much as it does out in public? When
and it sucks.
You're threatened, just let them do their thing and leave, and usually you're going to go unscathed.
Yeah.
Well, and how frequent? Most of the time, and a lot of people don't even talk about this, but most break-ins don't happen when you're home.
Exactly.
No, if somebody's trying to break in while you're home, most of the time they are inebriated in some capacity, and they don't realize you're not home. So many times somebody's just trying to get into a house, and they're very, very drunk, and they don't realize that it's not their house.
Yeah, that happened with who? Not Red Skelton, but the hell was his name from Men in Black? Shit, what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Tommy Lee?
Not Tommy Lee Jones, but the guy that was in charge of them, Zed.
Yeah.
His name, yeah, but
yeah.
Oh my
gosh.
Me
anyway. Yeah, I know, right? Been on lots of other things. He was on the Larry Sanders Show for so many years, and I can't remember his name.
He's got an oddball name. It's killing me, but yeah.
It's like Red Skelton Buttons or some shit like that. I don't know what his name is, but anyway, he like drunkenly like broke into a house because it was near his,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it would have been a tragedy if the guy was shot for doing so.
Yeah. Hey,
I don't know.
If you're drunk enough, all front doors look the same.
Yeah, really. Have you ever seen the what is it, the drunk proof lock for what is it? It's the lock that's on your front door for helping you like unlock your door if you're drunk, where it's like a giant slot to like help you slide your key in. It's pretty funny. So anyway, we're gonna keep on going with this guy.
They began with a marginalization of that population, lampooning, lambasting, making fun of. Of course, back then they didn't have Hollywood and media and movies and video games and television shows and cable TV and programming and.
I have never once played a video game that made fun of Christians. I'm going to be on the lookout for it, but I've never found one.
Education, public education thing, government education. Let's call it that. Government.
Seriously.
I know. Thank you, Richard.
God. Re-education camps. They didn't have all of that, but they did begin to institute those things. And so I use Nazi Germany as one example because that's still.
That's the absolute last fucking example that you need to go to. That is the last one that you should ever go to in any kind of conversation or argument.
Yeah, no, you don't do that.
Christ. No.
Well, you don't do that one because if you're bringing it up, you don't understand what happened. And it wasn't just a matter of, I'm going to disarm the public there.
No, there was a lot. There's a lot more to Nazi Germany than people fucking realize. Like, it involved a whole other fucking world war that happened before the Second World War even, like, started ramping up to whatever it became. There was a whole bunch to that. You had the whole Weimar Republic, the people being bankrupt and like literally buckets of money not being able to buy a loaf of bread kind of thing. You need to look into the history of Germany, people. It's really fucking fascinating. But anyway, let's see.
They're fresh in our historical minds, but there are many other examples, and I document them in my book. So watch. This is what Christians in America are concerned about, Michael. Most Christians in America would not define themselves as being heavily persecuted every day, not when we consider what's happening in the Middle East, China, North Korea, Sudan. But
wait, what's going on in China? I thought they were pretty much like hunky-dory over there.
Yeah, they pretty much are. I mean,
they finally got rid of their one-child policy. I saw that, but
they have some issues. But
but every country's got fucking issues, man. Look at us. We got some of the richest motherfuckers in the world, but we also got giant poverty swaths across this whole country. I don't understand. And if you guys really want to go buy his book, his name is Carl Gallups, and his book is called Author. He's the author of Be Thou Prepared, which I don't even think is proper. It's not even proper, like old, like
it's high Egyptian.
That's not even right grammar. I mean, yeah, that's Reformed Egyptian right there.
What we're watching is this downward degradation of our culture that's aimed at Christianity, taking away the First Amendment rights of all citizens.
I'm sorry, but your right to a First Amendment has not been messed up at all.
In any way, shape, or form.
You just can't do it in a governmental capacity. That's all it is. We have enough people that are finally going, nope, you need to stop doing that. Nope, you can't do that anymore. Stop. My money helps pay your fucking paycheck. Stop doing this. And it's a wonder why they keep losing every fucking court case that they go to.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm going to shut this guy up. Carl Gallups, you need to fuck off. I have a special clip that you're only going to be hearing as a Patreon donor, so donate at that $5 amount. But we're going to move on to the World Congress of Families.
Oh, can we? Can we?
And, the first one that we have here is Alan Carlson, who is bringing up the fact that Obama is hostile to Russia because it's a pro-family voice in the world. If you ever wonder why I'll never stay in the Grand America or Little America, it's because they host assholes like this there. I will honestly boycott places like that. I mean, I boycotted Chick-fil-A up until a couple of months ago when they came out with their we're not going to support that group anymore.
Well, I mean, to be fair, slightly fair. They paid for a room, and Little America, Grand America, they will rent their space to whoever pays them to do it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be so mercenary about the whole thing.
Yeah, true. But
as a business, you should stand on some sort of scruples. And so
they have scruples. It just happens that those scruples have dollar signs attached to them.
Yeah, that's true. Again, I'm really starting to fucking hate capitalism. I'm really starting to hate it. So anyway, this guy's name is Alan Carlson. He's the founder of the World Congress of Families, and he's talking about. Anyway, you'll get the gist here because he's talking about how Obama really hates Russia because of this, that, or the other thing. Not the fact that we did have a Cold War with them for I don't know how many decades, 6. 5 or something, some insane amount like that, because it was after World War II, so at least 4 for the 80s, and I remember them doing that shit up until the 90s, so 5 decades, so 50 years of a Cold War with Russia, and now that Putin's essentially installed himself as the person that's going to run Russia for the next however fucking long he can keep killing people and paying people to stay in charge. Anyway, here we go.
Family questions, family issues, today including same-sex marriage, abortion, the retreat from marriage more broadly, those have become international issues. It's a situation, a set of problems found around the globe. And even in third world countries, they're facing an aggressive effort by the European Union and now the United States government to abandon their attachment to traditional marriage, to large families, and to embrace what we call the Western sexual revolution.
What?
If you've never tried butt sex, you really should try it.
Well, first, the myth of traditional marriage is really funny.
Yeah. And
whose tradition are we going off of here?
Yeah, which tradition are we talking about? Are we talking biblical, or are we talking...
Well, there's the biblical, you can sell your daughters for goats, traditional marriage.
Hey now.
If the guy rapes your daughter, you can get the 50 shekels of silver to, has to pay restitution and marry her, you know.
Well,
Alan, we're not talking about anything that's not in the book. Me and Kyle are very adamant about studying this kind of thing. So it's in there,
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when we have the people doing public prayer and everything, I can point to, Timothy 6, 5, and 6. Go read that one. Have fun with that one.
Yeah.
Is it Timothy or Matthew? Fuck, I can't remember.
I can't remember. It's one.
I've had a couple of drinks. I'm not sure on Bible stuff because, yeah. Anyway, so Western sexual revolution, hasn't it been grand? I just watched Rocky Horror Picture Show again this weekend. So you know what? People need to have more sexual revolution in this country. You never know what you might like until you try it.
Well, what's he defining as Western? Because
I think he's talking anything Dr. Frankenfurter wants to do.
Well, because if we're talking Western as an American, we're really, really uptight.
Yeah, you remember how I said deleting browser history a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I have to do that is because we're an uptight nation.
You two are killing me here. And truthfully, truthfully, some of these clips you've played, even this last one, I don't have an issue with what they're trying to, and I'm using air quotes. Hey, people, can you see my air quotes? What they're trying to promote, what they're trying to do. My issue that I have is with how they're going about doing it, and with some of the things they're saying that just aren't lining up, aren't matching up. It's like I don't get it. I understand. Like I said, I understand what they're trying to do, but it's and I'm religious. I am, and you guys are, you guys and I,
but
we have different.
You wouldn't honestly go out and say, gay people, I don't think you should be able to get married. Do you? I mean, you recognize that when someone loves someone, it's love, right? It's not a, man and woman is the only way people should be married kind of thing.
I understand that and I recognize it. I do have a belief system I stick, that I hold true to. Do I believe that it's the proper way to go about things? No. But on the same token, am I one of those that's going to go out there, and force my beliefs and process on everybody? No.
You're not going to actively go out and say, no, you shouldn't do this. Even though your church has been caught with its pants down a number of times, getting involved with this political process of trying to make sure people can't get married that are same sex.
Well,
I'm saying you're specifically yourself are not going to go out and picket somebody's wedding, or say no, that shouldn't be allowed. You may disagree with it, and I respect the fact that you may be able to disagree with it, because that's what it is with the First Amendment. You have a right to this kind of thing. Right. But at the same time, when you bring it into the public square, I have a right to bring my shit to the public square, which is what we're doing podcast-wise here. We can all agree to disagree as long as you fucking keep it to yourself, right?
Well, and my other thought process is, and it goes back to that whole prayer thing too, is you have as much right to not want to believe in God and not pray as much as I have that right to pray. Do I need to force that on everybody? Do I need to require in a public setting that everybody pray whether they believe it or not? No. Do I have a right in that public setting, though, when they say we're not going to pray? Do I have a right in that public setting to take a minute and say a prayer to myself, or say a prayer, or have that moment of silence while others who don't believe that don't want to? Absolutely, because we all have that opportunity.
Which is why when people have a moment of silence, I might give a quiet reflection on something.
Exactly.
But when it's an actual, mandated by the government, we are going to have a Christian prayer at this event kind of thing, it makes me go, okay, well, what about the non-represented people in this community? Yeah. What about the Hindus? What about the Sikhs? What about the Krishna collective people? What about the Scientologists? What about the Luciferians? What about people like me that are members of the Satanic Temple? Right. Am I going to be able to be represented? Or if I come up there and go, our great Lord Satan, which is all going to be just tongue-in-cheek and everything, especially with Pastafarians,
Mm-hmm.
We consider ourselves a honest-to-goodness religion, but at the same time, it's tongue-in-cheek, guys. We do it because we're pointing out the hypocrisy and the whole method of everything in this country. Anyway, we're off on a tangent. We're going to get back to Carlson here talking about why Obama hates Russia.
When we would hear these wild reports, and I'm confident you and I did interviews about this after the UN Conference on Women, the Beijing Conference, Hillary Clinton's involvement in that. I remember, I'll never forget the tent on lesbian lovemaking. The fact that
there was a tent of lesbian lovemaking?
That sounds
at the
awesome.
UN? Man, I've been a fly on the wall on that one. Remember, deleted browser history.
There were 5 genders at the time. There were just 5, you see. And at the time, it's so bizarre. You think, this is so bizarre. Nobody's ever going to listen to this. Did you ever dream, Alan, that it would become mainstream thought, not only in America, but also in Europe?
I have no problem with people being pangender. I have no problem with it at all. Because honestly, gender is not as fluid, just like sexuality is not as fluid as everybody not as static as everybody might think it to be.
Oh, right.
I've had lots of genderqueer friends. I've had people that are transgender. It's something that exists, and them saying that, no, we don't think it's right, doesn't change the fact that it does exist. But anyway, we're going to get back down another rabbit hole. So,
well, you could see it coming. It plays on human weaknesses. It tells people who've made bad choices that they made good choices. It tells people that they may have hurt their children with bad choices, but no, it's okay. You're free. You're open. So I always knew there was some very diabolical message that preyed on the human heart.
Is he talking about Christianity? Because I think the central message there is like you may have done bad things and hurt people in your life, but you're absolved of them in the final outcome of it all. He's sounding a very, very hypocritical here.
Just a little bit. I mean,
sorry, my Siri picked up on that. Hopefully nobody else did. Wow, that was weird. Weird.
Hey Siri, are they being hypocritical about that?
Hey Siri, are they being hypocritical about that? Let's see. Interesting question. It says.
That's not an answer, Siri.
Ask her to open the pod bay doors next time. It's always fun. She's like, oh, I've never heard that one before. Anyway, we'll finish this guy up.
So I'm not surprised it's grown. What is the encouraging thing is that opposition has now risen up to it, to this false message of human liberation. And that's what this event is about. It's just one example of hundreds of thousands of events that are happening and I think are going to grow.
And we have the last quote of this
when
one.
you first started this, and I think we probably met back in 1997. I'm thinking that's probably when that all took place. What did you have in mind?
Hey, that's when The Fifth Element came out. That was a great year. I love that movie. Sorry.
What did you hope to achieve?
Well, the first meeting was had a small agenda. The first meeting was simply to compare and contrast family troubles in Eastern Europe coming out of communism, Eastern Europe and Russia, and family troubles in Western Europe, the United States, and Canada. That was our main purpose. But at that meeting, the first one in Prague, the UN.
What about Uganda? Because you guys have gone there pretty extensively too.
And
Kenya.
We don't talk about what we did in Uganda.
We don't talk about kill the gay people. Let's not talk about that at all. Shh. No, even though we're up for the UN talking to us about, that's crimes against humanity,
Yeah.
Or is that just Rick Wiles? I can't remember.
Thing came up for the first time, and it was becoming quite clear. We'd been involved in that a little bit. We had a representative at the Beijing Women's Congress, UN Congress, 95, I believe that was. And so we were getting involved, but suddenly that was bursting out as a new era and a new agenda of family policy issues. And it looked at the time, you're right, as though the sexual left was going to just...
That's a new term, people. I'm going to use that one. I'm a member of the sexual left.
That sounds like an awesome party.
Wow.
I'm going to put that on the bumper sticker on the car. Yeah.
What does this guy think? What does this guy think that's going on here, really?
I don't know, but to me, he sounds a lot like a guy that's plugging his nose and talking deep falsetto. No, falsetto's high. I can't remember what vibrato or whatever it is. Yeah, I think that sexual left. He's almost like B-word fat too. I bet. I did eat some more butter for my noodles. It needs to be so buttered bread. I'm picturing him as a fat motherfucker, but I know he's probably some skinny dude.
Well, everything he's saying here,
it's full of buzzwords.
It's full of them,
and
everything just sounds like, how dare anybody else try to go after being happy or feeling fulfilled with themselves. If I can't be happy, no one else can.
Yeah, man. I just want to strap this guy into the throne at the Pride Parade and just make him sit there. Take it all in. All of it. Do the whole eyes propped open like on Clockwork Orange. Start playing Beethoven's Fifth. Sorry, I'm getting nerdy again.
Sweep away.
This is what happens when we don't have the female voice on the show. It gets really nerdy around here, so hang on.
The UN. They controlled the dominant countries. Actually, since that time, strange things have happened. Again, Eastern Europe has come back. Without anybody anticipating this, the government of Russia has become a very strong pro-family voice at the United Nations.
while attacking and arresting and beating people that are gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, whatever of the spectrum that there is. It is bad over there if you're an out person.
Yeah, if you're holding up Russia as the example of, no, look, these guys are doing it right.
These guys are pro-family.
No, I'm sorry.
Wrong. Yeah.
Again, I'm shaking my head, and I'm not even seen on video shaking my head, but I'm shaking my head. And I'm Christian and pro-family and pro all of this other crap too, but I don't understand.
What does it mean to be pro-family, though?
I mean, I don't know. Well, and I'm using that phrase because of what it said, but it's like
because that's what this guy is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand why the whole bring Russia. Chris, I don't understand where you find half this stuff anyway, but this guy makes my head hurt. I mean,
and that's why this is everybody's favorite segment.
I understand it's at a world family event, whatever the crap they're calling it, but why bring Russia into
it? They are
why
listed as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They are a hate group.
Well, why bring Russia and family all together? It just, I think we made it clear at the beginning of this portion here that that Russia is not a good example because Russia has issues that go beyond the Cold War. There's something of a concern right now, and it has nothing to do with family. I mean, come on. Wow.
You know, Russia may be a pretty fucking rocking place to live for most people. I mean, maybe we're just exaggerating the stuff that we've read and seen on other news items. Maybe there's just the tip. Maybe it's just like Canada with a different language. I don't know, but
remember the delete browsing history you said earlier?
Yeah,
all those things you deleted out of the delete browsing history, like the Russian bride website. I mean, I don't know. Wow.
I've already been married. I don't know if I want to go.
Yeah, no, everything I've ever heard from anybody who's ever even been to Russia or anybody who's lived in Russia is not good.
No. I talked about a number of episodes ago about the guy that was eating raw bacon because he didn't realize he needed to cook it, by the name of Nikolai, who was like some sort of major fucking smart guy, but ended up having to fucking weld basketball hoops here at Lifetime. You know.
Well, I hate to say this, but Russia is, I mean, I wouldn't even call them third world, but seriously, they have never left the Cold War era. They haven't left that era where they're so far behind.
One only needs to go back and watch the footage for the Olympic Games that happened there for the Winter Games. The fact that we had a Winter Games in an area that doesn't normally get snow should have been a fucking precursor to realize how corrupt shit is over there.
Yeah.
Where was it? Sochi? Was that what the name of it?
Yeah, Sochi.
Yes.
Anyway, let's finish up this guy so we can move the fuck on.
It's astonishing. And one of the reasons the Obama administration is so hostile to Russia today, I'm quite sure, it's not just the Crimea. It's also the fact that Russia has become a proponent, at least at the official level, of pro-family sentiments.
It is amazing, and one of the strongest, and this is not, but one of the strongest supporters of Israel. It's just the whole world, really, in our lifetime, has turned upside down. Don't you think, Alan?
It really has.
I'll have to fact check that one because I don't think that Russia is very pro-Israel.
No,
not really. No,
they're not.
I mean, they may be ambivalent towards the whole country and everything, but at the same time, I don't think they're funneling money as much as America is into Israel.
They're pretty ambivalent to everybody.
Well, you look at who they're currently supporting with the whole Syrian thing, and I mean, Syria has essentially become the staging grounds for World War III, and I'm not trying to go off on this weird tangent, conspiracy theory and everything like that, but you do have to realize that there's at least 3 or 4 factions in play in this tiny ass country in the Middle East, which is in the middle ground of all this other shit that could be happening. It's a very interesting thing. I mean, I hate to say that term, but it's very interesting to see what's going on right now over in that country. Because I'm just an observer of history, and I don't want us to see us go to war with fucking Russia.
Maybe this is my ignorance, but Russia seems like this country or location that just they they have no leg to stand on their own, and so they'll jump on the big boy's plate as to whoever's the aggressor and whoever's going to turn out. So
no, they just have a lot of they are just like America. When the Cold War happened, two countries came out as major military industrial complexes, us and Russia. That was the big fighting between the two of us.
Right.
I mean, besides the fact that, we had different ideas, they had different ideas, kind of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out, it comes to be military contractors, giant military budgets and everything,
Right.
all the money being spent on weaponry, kill. And, we won out because we overspent these people, but at the same time, we spent ourselves into a fucking deficit and
right.
brought ourselves out of it, gone back into it, brought ourselves out of it, whatever the fuck you want to say. They're the second biggest military, I believe, out there. Like, I'm speaking completely without Googling all this shit. But, and I'm just trying to say is that when their biggest buyers of weaponry are being threatened by outside forces and stuff, primarily like Syria, Bashar al-Assad is spending a shitload of money to have like MiGs and Sukhoi like aircraft, and we don't have any contracts with Syria. And so when we find somebody that could be ousted, I mean, it seems really cynical to be bringing it up as a military industrial complex, kind of like
right.
Conspiracy theory, but really that's who fucking runs a lot of the government stuff, is the people that make a shitload of money on government spending,
Mm-hmm.
especially with military contracts. And
So-
all three of us have a very interesting mindset when it comes to that kind of thing.
So, like I said,
Because
go back
we
to the
have
fact that
probably all spent time as contractors with any one of those
Yes,
giant
we have.
corporations.
And like I said, I prefaced what I said with it might be ignorance, and yeah, it is, but that's okay. Whatever.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just
We speak from ignorance all the fucking time on the show.
It's never stopped us before.
So yeah.
So, like I said, we have that one clip that we're going to play after the show, and the little fun after show second here. But let's hear from Ray Comfort, because we talked about Ken Ham last week.
Do we
haven't talked about his.
Do we have to?
I think we have to. The
Okay.
Kiwi, the Living Waters Kiwi that is talking about. He wants to tell you he wants to teach Christians how to sit next to gay people on airplanes. Not just sit next to them like you should any other fucking person on the planet. He's going to teach you how to sit next to them.
You really want to hurt my head again, don't you?
Oh yes.
I'm trying. I'm trying so hard.
You're just getting all right.
Were you there? You weren't there. Look at the banana. Not banana. Banana. Ugh. That's the forehead. That's face palming. So hang on.
People say, do a movie on homosexuality. And I said, absolutely not. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. This is about 2 years ago. I said, the reason it's not going to happen is, number one, anybody who says anything about homosexuality nowadays is vilified on a par with someone who's a racist.
Mm-hmm.
And
Anybody?
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
title of this whole thing says it all right there. I'm sorry, I don't even need to comment on this. Why do we have to have somebody school us on how to sit next to people on an airplane? I really don't care who you are. I'll
Exactly.
sit next to you, and if you want to tell me about your life, whether I agree with your lifestyle or not, I'll listen to it and entertain you. Big deal.
See,
Seriously.
That's what's missing in this country, Alan. That's what's fucking missing. Is that most of us want to just live alongside each other and not give a shit about what the other person thinks, does, believes, whatever. But the fact that other people need to insert it into their life every day, cause government to insert it into life every day, and to think that they have to treat gay people that they're sitting next to on an airplane any differently than any other person in this country. I jokingly was talking about the Muslim people on the ship. How did I treat them? Just like any other fucking person in the world, Like, hey guys, how you doing? Even though I know culturally the women shouldn't probably be talking to strange guys walking down the hallway, I don't give a shit. I'm going to treat them like any other American person, be like, hey guys, how are you doing?
Because that's what you do. Because
that's what you do.
They're just
they're people.
People. Yeah.
Yep.
It's it kills me how they you can't say anything about gay people without being vilified. Well,
wouldn't it be great to not have to worry about any of this shit? I mean, it would be the only reason that I have to. And Alan, I bring this up only because it's crazy that I have to bring up at work sometimes or in other locations that yes, I'm an atheist, because honestly, it shouldn't fucking matter. It really shouldn't. It shouldn't matter that you're Mormon. It shouldn't matter that I'm an atheist. It shouldn't matter at all, because I mean, honestly, beside that one little thing that we disagree on, we get along great. We talk for hours on at end. I mean, you and Kyle work nearby, and you guys get along really well.
Define get along. Never mind. No.
Yeah.
I missed what you said because for some reason the call dropped. But the fact that I'm on this podcast, the fact that I'm on this podcast chit chatting with you guys, it says whatever happened to learning how to communicate with people. We learn to communicate. It doesn't matter whether you're black, you're white, you're gay, you're not gay, you're religious, you're not religious, you're atheist. It doesn't matter. Why can't we learn to just communicate as a group?
Can't we all just get along?
Thank you. You know what? You get drunk on a friggin' ship. I don't care. Tell me the funny stories because I'm gonna laugh my butt off at them because I think they're funny.
Yeah. And we aim to entertain, maybe educate, but entertain purposely. So,
and you know what? I'm very good at sticking my foot in my mouth, and I'm not afraid to do it. And I make little mistakes, but in the end, it doesn't matter. It's like, you know what? I don't get offended, and if you learn how to not get offended, and we can all just talk and just not care, then let's just do it.
Okay, let's wrap up Ray Comfort here, and let's go to break here in a minute. We're gonna finish up, and then we'll get right back to it.
And let alone make a movie about it. I didn't want that. And the second reason I didn't want to do it is because how do you make a movie about homosexuality and make it interesting? All you can really think of is a documentary with so-called experts and ex-homosexuals who are now Christians, married with 3 kids, and it's stereotypical, and who's going to watch that but the choir? And so...
How do you make a movie about homosexuality that make it interesting?
I don't know.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
I don't know, Ang Lee. How do you do that?
Tu Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. I mean, these might be drag queen specific. Sorry.
The Birdcage.
Birdcage, yeah, more drag queen stuff.
There are hundreds of them, thousands of them.
There are thousands of them. I mean, you can go watch. Jesus, what's the John Waters movie?
Which one?
With Divine, and she eats the dog crap, and I don't remember. Pink Flamingos. There you go.
There you go.
Go watch that movie, kids. It's a good movie. If you like B movies. John Waters is the king of fucking B movies. I love that guy. But he's asking, how do you make a movie about homosexuality, people like a documentary about homosexuality, interesting? There's a lot of fucking really interesting stories out there.
There's a lot of them. I don't know.
Fuck you, Ray Comfort, for not thinking you can make an interesting movie about it.
I don't know how.
But he's talking about from his bias.
Oh yeah, well, how many of them are extraordinarily interesting now? How many of them are award winning? Look at
Dallas Buyers Club.
Buyers Club.
Philadelphia.
Imitation Game, Brokeback Mountain.
Man, Brokeback Mountain still makes me cry. That movie is fucking heartbreaking. I don't care who you are. If you didn't watch it because you're like, oh, I don't want to see no boy kissing in there. That is honestly one of the best, like, not romance movies, but I want to say one of the best, like, heartbreak movies that there is to exist. I mean, when Heath Ledger died in it, didn't he? He was
no.
Which one died in the middle of it? It was Heath Ledger crying over the guy's shirt.
Yeah, it was Heath Ledger and Jake
Gyllenhaal. Yeah. Man, what a sad movie. God, good soundtrack too. But anyway, Ray Comfort. Fuck you.
Well, I had some incidents happen in my life that changed my mind radically. One of them was I was flying from Germany to London, sat next to a middle-aged gentleman. I said, "How you doing?" He says, "Good." I said, "You got a family?" He says, "I have a husband." It was like, oh.
Why would... When I'm on a flight with somebody, and I really was on this recently, and I've done it more often than I care to think about. When someone sits down to me next to me and is a stranger, I'm like, "Hello." That's about it. This last trip on the way home, I had somebody sit next to me that was drunk off their ass, and they were talking to me about stuff, and I'm like, I don't care to talk to you because you're not going to remember any of this.
Well, the last time I flew with my wife, and if it wasn't going to be my wife, whoever I flew with was going to have to get used to me probably sitting there and grabbing their leg or their hand and making sure they hold it for a while because I don't like flying. That's the only reason. Otherwise, it's like I'm going to be putting on my headphones and ignoring because I'm scared spitless about being in the air. So it doesn't matter.
You're not gonna sit there on the flight and be like, have you had a chance to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? You're not going to jump to that type of shit. You're not going to jump to, do you have a family? No, that's not an appropriate question to ask a stranger. That is wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, well, not only that, but that's a pretty stupid question. If you really think about it, that's a stupid question.
Well, I know, but I might ask them, but I might ask them because I genuinely want to know because I'm interested. But whatever.
But usually, first question would be like, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, good.
Exactly.
So, are you from blah 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 where you're going to, or like, have you ever been to this place? Kind of thing. Or you might notice the ring on their finger. You'd be like, "Oh, so you're married?" You don't say, "Do you have a family?" That's like saying, like, "Can I fuck your kids? Can I watch you guys shower?" It's just, it seems so inappropriate to me that'd be like the line of questioning that you start off with.
But he wants to teach you how to talk on the plane. Don't you understand that? He's trying to teach you that.
I can only fucking imagine the amount of the conversations I would have with Ray Comfort on the airplane.
God. Well, here's for anybody who's about ready to fly. Here's a tip: as soon as the plane takes off, turn to the person next to you, and no matter where you're going, say, "So, have you ever been to Detroit before?" and see if panic sets in, because everybody, as soon as the plane takes off, in the back of your head is going, "I hope I'm on the right flight. I hope I'm going to the right place."
Well,
see, and I'm jumping to uber nerdy kind of shit. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be in the same town that RoboCop's in. I don't want to deal with OCP. I don't want.
Well, I Kyle will appreciate that. Maybe I'll just ask him if they've ever been to Newark Airport.
So, is this the first time you've gone to Newark?
Have you ever been outside of our current time frame and world yet? You're about to. Another dimension.
No, I don't want to go to New Jersey. No. Nobody wants to go to New Jersey, Chris Christie. That's why we make fun of you all the time. So anyway, do you have a family? And he finds out that the guy has a husband. And he's like, oh, well, I don't know how to respond to this because I'm a complete fucking tool. So here we go.
Oh,
anytime.
Where do I go from here? Do I say, oh, that's nice, tell me about him? Or what? And it was awkward. And, I didn't stare out the window for an hour and a half, but we chatted and we became friends. But I imagine what it'd be like for the average Christian who isn't kind of confrontational. And I realize there's a real need to show Christians how to relate to homosexuality, because I've taught on it on a teaching called Hell's Best Kept Secret for many years, the biblical way to witness to homosexuals. So we embarked upon this movie and we...
to witness to homosexuals. God damn it. That hurts my feelings so bad. Like, well, let me tell you about Jesus. It's like, I think the dude probably has heard about it before. I'm sure that somebody living in Western Europe has heard about Jesus at one point in their life.
You professional actors, because I knew that 5 seconds of cheesy acting would sink the whole ship.
There's a perception that may be out there in the culture, which is really quite tragic, that Christians supposedly hate homosexuals.
Which wouldn't be unfounded, because look at Westboro Baptist Church. Look at people talking about Leviticus 20:13.
Yeah, that's not entirely...
That stigma exists.
Yeah, that's not an entirely unfounded perception.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, and it would be wrong to paint everybody with the same brush, but it's not entirely off base to say that big swaths of Christianity are openly hostile.
Honestly, what is people's main problem with homosexuality? Is the fact that it's not biblical to them. They think it's against everybody's religion. They're going to hell. We're trying to save you from hell. It's like, okay, Well, if you didn't have that, would you have a problem with it? Oh no, you guys can fuck as much as you want. Fuck like rabbits, I don't care.
But you know what? It doesn't matter whether it's against the religion or not, because the founding basic belief about Christianity, and I'm going to say this because Mormon, I am Christian. The founding belief of Christian is that we love everyone. So why?
Oh, we'll get to you in a minute.
Why? You'll get to me in a minute. What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah, love everybody except those that Leviticus says to hate on.
But that's what I'm saying. Gosh, seriously,
dirty bacon eaters.
That's just what I'm saying. You brought up hypocrisy a few minutes ago, and that's the issue I have with it. It's like
you're shellfish eating motherfuckers.
You're being a hypocrite when you say you hate people who are gay. And are against it, but then want to open. It's hypocritical anyway. We love everybody. What is wrong with loving everybody? Why can't we just get along?
The problem that we can't get along with a lot of, and I'm not saying specifically you, Alan, I'm just saying Christians in general, is that their book is contradictory in almost every stance that it takes.
I won't disagree with that.
We'll get to that in a minute.
I won't disagree with that.
Not true. It's, I've often thought about the fact that it won't be long until pedophilia is embraced by this world. We live in such moral relativism.
What?
Boo! Fucking boo! Yeah. He's equating homosexuality to pedophilia, which is the typical bait and switch that the evangelical Christian likes to do.
Yeah, we need a word for that, because that's not going Godwin. That's
going comfort.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna give it straight to him. That's going full Cameron. That's what it is. That's going Ben Seaver. What is it, Ben or Mike? I can't remember. Which one was he on Growing Pains? Was he Ben or Mike Seaver?
I can't remember, and I don't care to look it up.
I watched Growing Pains way too fucking much with Alan Thicke and Tracy Gold. Yeah, Mom was hot on that show. Man, but it's just I fucking hate it when people equate, homosexuality, which is hopefully with people that are of consenting age. Which more than likely is probably is the case.
Yeah.
But when pedophilia happens, it's people of non-consenting age, which is the whole, do you want some tea? You're too young to drink tea. You can't have tea.
There's a big difference there.
Huge.
That's like having a kid showing up in like a hookah bar. Like, no, you're not supposed to be in here. Get out. No. Do we have hookah bars in Salt Lake anymore? Are they still allowed to be in existence, or did we phase them out? Because the state
there is. I think there is one.
There's one or two that were able to argue their way through grandfather clauses.
Grandfather clause.
Well, it says mild pedophilia is okay, and we have experts saying they're born like that. And the time will come when people who are so angry about pedophilia now will be vilified and looked on as hateful if they say, no, this is not right. And what will...
Okay.
Nope.
Someone that might be this is the problem that Ray Comfort's facing here, and I keep interrupting him only because he's talking in such wrong fucking terms here. Someone can be a pedophile, and I don't give a shit about it. It could be a wrong thing for me. That could be their fetish. You know what? As long as they don't go looking for the kind of thing, as long as it's not exploiting children, as long as they're not looking at my kids with that kind of thing, and it's the whole not in my backyard kind of thing. Because honestly, what you are sexually attracted to has nothing to do with what you personally like to do. Like, and I might be it's going a bit weird country here, but it's like what I like is because of stuff that happened when I was a kid. Stuff that's my kink. Is because of stuff that happened to me. Not happened to me. That might sound kind of weird. But what worked for me as a kid, like the whole JCPenney catalogs and Sears catalogs and the occasional Fredericks of Hollywood seems like, ooh, underwear, fuck yeah, kind of thing. But when it comes to like pedophilia, it might be because they have a lifelong attraction to Punky Brewster or something like that. That's the only thing that works for them. And I don't give a shit what they do, as long as they don't manifest it in the real world, as long as they don't take advantage of other kids, and as long as they don't, you can't help what kink you have, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there are larger psychological disorders that come into play there, and it is, as long as it is a real thing, and it is, I think, technically a mental illness.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of mental illnesses, and as long as that mental illness is managed, treated, and doesn't harm anybody else,
if some dude wants to wank into a pile of like 9-year-old kids' Hanes underwear, I don't care.
Is it a little? Is that a little creepy? Yeah, probably.
Well, this conversation just got extremely disturbing.
Yeah, it's gotten fucking dark here.
You guys are, Chris, you're scaring me now. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not afraid to go there. But at the same time, I'm not going to say, like, people that have this kind of thing going on should be immediately put to death, like a lot of people out there in this world would.
Yeah.
No, they need help, but they don't need to be put to death. But it's not something they can help. And I don't want to equivocate it with the whole LGBT community.
No, because
but at the same time,
different things.
It's very different. But at the same time, you can't help what you like. You can't help what you enjoy. You might have had something happen to you. I mean, and God, I hate saying shit like this because it could come back to bite me in the ass in the future. But something that somebody likes, or whatever they're physically attracted to, sexually attracted to, whatever it is a manifestation of whatever is internally, like either in their brain, encoded in their DNA. Even though they say there's no gay gene, I don't give a shit what you guys say. It can't be it's not a nurture thing. It's a nature thing.
Well, there's a big difference between something being genetic and something being,
psychological.
There's no gay gene, but it is.
I'm being
genetic,
way too fucking apologetic for this topic, so we're gonna move on. Anyway,
you've got to remember that as Christians, we're like police officers right in the middle of a crime area, and criminals hate the police. They'll kill a police officer. They don't even know who he is, but because of the badge he wears, because he stands for righteousness. And
I think any criminal that's willing to kill a cop is turning whatever crime that they were doing into murder, and that's something that you don't normally see criminals doing. Maybe bad criminals, I would think, but catching a robbery rap is a lot different from catching a murder one.
We're going to be hated if we stand up and say, look, pedophilia is wrong, homosexuality is wrong, adultery, fornication, blasphemy is wrong. In fact,
blasphemy's wrong. So I'm a pedophile because I blaspheme. I'm as bad as a pedophiliac.
Wow. Did he just put blasphemers in the same category as pedophiles?
I'm gonna rewind it here a second,
really?
So we can rehear this. Hang on a second.
Lust is wrong. Jesus said, if you lust, you commit adultery in your heart. But we've got to be stand.
Bring it back.
Look, pedophilia is wrong. Homosexuality is wrong. Adultery, fornication, blasphemy is wrong. In fact, it gets worse than that. Lust is wrong. Jesus said,
lust is wrong. Fornication is wrong.
Lust is
fornication.
Did he actually just say that lust is worse than pedophilia?
Oh, he said it's on par with pedophilia.
No, I think he said it was worse.
Oh man, this guy's a fucking
wow.
Don't watch any of his fucking movies because he quote mines, and my wife had somebody handed her, like at my kids' dance thing one time, like a DVD of the whole, how many aborted children, and it equivocates to Nazi Germany killing all the Jews and everything, and it's just like, I'm like, somebody literally gave this to you? She's like, yeah. I'm like, why? She's like, because I didn't say outright that I'm Christian, and I'm like, oh. Well, yeah, I guess that'll do it. He just paints a big target. I mean, she's not atheist like I am. I'm fucking goose-stepping atheist. But I have a good time with it. That's the difference, though. And I really can't fucking stand to listen to Ray Comfort anymore. And I think that's all we have for this segment. And we've gone about 20 minutes over time, so we're going to take a quick little break and be right back. Hang on.
Do you keep your doubts about religion to yourself? Do you have questions about God that you never ask? We have a better way. American Atheists offers a diverse community for people exploring reality religion-free. American Atheists is leading the charge for equality and the separation of religion and government. Join the most vibrant atheist community in the country. Your voice matters because equality matters.
And we're back. So, this is our final segment for the show. And, of course, we're going to talk about the Bremerton thing here in a minute. Me and Kyle will go into it because, unfortunately, Alan has to go in a minute, and I don't want to keep him longer than he has to be here because it's damn near midnight here in Utah. And with it being daylight savings time, everybody's clock is way fucked up.
I have no idea what time it is.
My clock is messed up on a regular basis anyway, so this doesn't really affect me much.
It was really like, what is it? It caused a lot of discord in my family tonight when the kids realized that the sun was going down at like 5 o'clock at night. What's wrong, Dad? Why is it doing this?
Yeah, my kids said the same thing.
So, Alan, we know that you're a active member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we're going to ask what you believe and why you believe, but I just want to get the checklist out of the way. Did you serve a 2-year mission anywhere?
Yes, I did, in New Jersey.
Where'd you go? New Jersey. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense now.
Yes, I did.
Were you anywhere near Red Hook or?
No, I was all over the place. I spent a lot of time in the city when I was out there. So,
okay.
Jersey's like a second home to me, and always will be.
So you and Kyle must talk all the time about the East Coast.
We've had our conversations about it.
Yeah, it comes up.
It does.
Usually once a month or so.
So let's see. You are a every month 10% tithe paying. Are you like Are you the kind of LDS member that fasts and all that? I mean, are you 100% in?
Interesting definition I could give to that.
That might be an unfair question to ask there.
Well, it is because, it's I'm one of those who has my crutches, it crutches, if you will. And I realize I'm talking to atheists, and so the crutches is an all-in kind of word because it's like there is no such thing as crutch. I get that. But like, on Sunday, I have my daily dose of Mountain Dew I have to have. And so on Sunday, I'll head to the gas station and go get me something to drink, So, I mean, I have those types of things. Am I 100% all in? Hey,
there's a reason why like Swig and like all these other places are starting to become giant places around here in the city.
And this could be a whole different, then that could be a whole different subject of the whole caffeine thing because it's not against the word of wisdom. So
and I had that conversation on the vacation because more than half the family we were traveling with are actual current Mormons and everything. And
right.
One of the dads in the family was like, let me have a sip of your poison, talking to another one of the kids in the family. And he was talking about a soda, and they kind of laughed when I'm like, "Hey, that's not against your word of wisdom. That's not against DNC." And they're like, "Oh, shit, the atheist knows what he's talking about. God damn it!"
But
I'm like, "It says nothing about temperature."
But yeah, I mean, in the end,
hot.
as far as all in or not, I have a very strong basic belief of what we're part of and what we do, and yes, I go to church regularly. I actually teach. I actually am one of the teachers in church for the little kids. I teach the primary classes. So, and I enjoy it. I enjoy what I do.
Kind of have to be, you get a calling, and you don't really get a choice of whether you want to or not, do you?
Yeah,
I mean, they say you do get a choice, but at the same time, isn't it frowned upon?
Yes and no. I mean, let me put it to you this way, and I'm going to give this.
It's social pressure that you get to do these things or not, correct? I mean, I would think that yes, you want to do them because you like kids and everything, and you're around them all the time, and you see them in the church and everything. But at the same time, like, you can't go, oh well, that's a lot more work than I really want to do, because you.
Well, can I share an example? Let me share a quick example. So a couple years ago, it's actually been more like 3 years ago. little background on me, I played piano when I was a kid, right? So I knew how to play piano. And a couple of years ago, my bishop approached me and said, hey, we want you to play the piano in primary. I'm like, are you serious with me? I haven't touched a piano in 20 years. Why are you going to do this to me? And I literally said that to him, and I was uncomfortable with it. You say socially acceptable whether to say yes or no. I very seriously considered saying no right then, that I didn't want to do it. And I didn't say yes because of the social aspect. I did say yes more because of a personal connection aspect of it, where I said, you know what, I can't say no. I can't say no.
Well, but the very definition of what they ask you guys to do by calling it a quote unquote calling,
right?
It implies to me a lot more pressure than people want to lead on, you know.
And I'll be fair, and I'm going to say this again. I know that we're in an atheist setting here, but the pressure for me, and this may not be true for everybody, but the pressure for me is knowing that when I'm saying no, I'm not saying no just to myself and to that person. I'm saying no to a higher power that I believe in. Yeah. And I honestly believe unequivocally that if I say no, that I'm saying no to someone who means a great deal to me. And it has nothing to do with the social aspect. It has nothing to do with whether somebody else is going to look at me and go, oh, you said no. It has everything to do with me internally believing that I've just told somebody that I care a great deal about no, and I can't do that. That's what it has to do with. And that's how I stick with it.
Greater pressure, I think, than social pressure.
It is.
That's
it is
higher.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it is. Absolutely.
And so I feel a great deal of regret. I mean, you may not do this because it's something you probably enjoy doing, but at the same time, the fact that you have to tussle with that internally, it makes me go, man, that's fucked up. I mean, sorry, not to mince words here, but we don't stand on airs here. We say what's on our mind.
Right.
But it's just like, man, the fact that they make you have that inner turmoil on something like that. And for them to know, I mean, and maybe I'm being a bit more nefarious here than probably would be, but they know that internally you're going to have that dialogue with yourself.
Well, and for me, and this is another way I put it to it, you know, everybody refers to him as God. For me, it's much different and a much deeper connection for me. Okay, and I can use this as an example. We all grow up, or many of us have grown up with a father figure. The last thing a lot of us wanted to do was ever disappoint our father. Am I right? I mean, there are a lot of us that believe that and had a difficult time that, you know, Dad, and not everybody, and I'm saying this loosely because not everybody agrees the same way as I do, but I'm just saying, for me, it's that same kind of connection. For me, it's disappointing. It has nothing to do. It's hard to describe, and it's even more difficult for me to describe in a setting like this.
Yeah. I can only imagine. I appreciate your candor in coming on the show and being willing to talk to us about this kind of stuff.
Right. But now you understand what stands behind me and what my belief system is. I mean, it's a personal relationship that I feel I have, and he's like a father to me, and he is a father to me, and so that's where that relationship exists.
But that and I'm jokingly saying this, but it seems a lot like the whole Nelson Muntz way of having, you know, the father figure thing, where he said he was going to go out to get a pack of smokes and some Pop-Tarts, and he never came back. You know, it's like,
right.
He's, God damn it. I said to Felicia that I wouldn't put on the kid gloves, but I can't knock you down because I know you too well, and I can't be a dick about it because that's just not my style. I don't know. I've never had the personal connection with Jesus or God or anything like that. I mean, there was a time in my life when before I was in my 20s, where like I was seriously doing the whole Southern Baptist thing. Thank you for letting me live another day. Please let me live another kind of thing, you know, because my God was a vengeful God, you know.
Right.
And so I never really developed that whole, you know, father figure thing. It was more of a, yo, believe in me or I will fuck you up kind of God, you know.
Right. Well, and the thing is, though, is you and I share similarities there, because I'm on the other end of the spectrum looking at atheists going, you know, I have this personal relationship, I have this belief, I have this feeling, I have this, and I'm looking at it going, how can you not? You know, you're saying, how can I? And I'm thinking on the other reverse of the spectrum, how can I not? You know what I mean? But yet here we are. You do, I do, and yet here we are on an evil playing field, sitting in front of a table with each other,
So let's go. Let's
table.
go. Quick rapid fire question. Well, maybe not rapid fire, but creationism. Yes or no?
What's that?
Creationism. Did God create everything?
Yes.
Did he do it in a short amount of time or a long time ago?
A long time ago.
Okay, so
and he used science to do it, by the way, just so everybody's clear.
Adam and Eve, yes or no?
Yes.
So you believe humanity descended from a one man, one woman?
Yes.
Why do they have belly buttons in all their pictures?
Oh, Chris, what am I going to do with you?
That's the easiest question.
This was supposed to be rapid fire. What are you throwing belly buttons into this for?
No, it's just funny. It's all for fun.
Hold on.
Wait,
hold on. I'm gonna ask you the same. I'm gonna ask you the same question that came up when this conversation came up with my kid, with my oldest daughter.
Okay.
If it was one man, one woman, and they only had sons, where did the rest of the people come from?
But they didn't.
They're not notated in the book, though, buddy. There's no footnote about anybody else.
Oh, boy. You guys and bringing logic into it.
Well, if you're talking about the inerrant word of God that contradicts itself every other page, especially when it comes to Cain and Abel, let's not forget Lilith, Or, Cain and Abel going out into, well, maybe not Cain and Abel, but Cain going out into the world and, there were people there. And all of a sudden you have Noah.
Right.
Which brings me to the next section here. The flood, true or false?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no historical record of it at all, except for, and we've shown, man, that's interesting. Let's see, keeping on going, Exodus, were the Jews captive in Israel?
Yes.
I mean, not Israel. Sorry, Egypt.
Yes.
Oh, man. Damn it, Alan.
What do you want me to do?
I know, but you're saying yes to this stuff, but it's like, dude, we've got books in history. I mean, and okay, I haven't even gotten to the Book of Mormon yet, so we're going to get there in a second, and we'll make it quick because we'll get there relatively quickly. Let's see, we'll bypass the whole Jesus thing except for the whole, the disciples and all that fun shit. Let's see. Let's jump into Book of Mormon. Joseph Smith's Seer Stone. You have a problem with the church coming out and talking about that?
No.
Even though they said that every word that was brought through the Seer Stone was true and correct, and yet they found it necessary to annotate and correct those?
What do you mean annotate and correct?
The first draft of the Book of Mormon does not reflect what the current Book of Mormon is.
They've fixed a few minor grammatical errors, but that's been about it.
No,
there's more than a few grammatical changes.
There aren't very many major errors, I'll tell you that right now. There aren't.
Well, what about the first vision?
Yes.
Because in that it was originally one Godhead, and then it changed into God and Jesus.
No, it's always been God and Jesus.
I don't think so, but I'll look into that because I'm not 100% on my Book of Mormon stuff because I was a Baptist. Kyle, you might have to field that one.
I can't even remember that one. Those are things that are so foggy at this point. What about the when they released the photos of that Seer Stone? When they said that was the same stone that Joseph Smith had used earlier in his life to find buried treasure. That was the same stone he used to find buried treasure, where he was actually convicted of committing fraud. That was the same.
I'm
stone.
not sure of what story you speak of. Honestly, I'm really not.
Okay, so prior to his
life as a prophet.
Yeah, prior to his life as a prophet, he wandered around his community with these seer stones and offered to for a fee find buried treasure on other people's property.
No, I don't think so.
No, he did. He was.
There's a court case, man.
Yeah, he was actually arrested and charged with defrauding people.
So this was before the first vision, then.
This was before that. Yes.
Okay.
And they,
well,
and they
you
have,
know,
they
again,
have said
I don't
that it's
know.
the same stone, but
Well,
I was just
in the end, for me, those stones don't mean anything more than what we've read. But it to me, you know, the Book
And it
of
might be
Mormon was
kind of unfair because both of us are kind of tag teaming on this kind
I
of
know.
thing. You
But
are not a theologist. You
No.
are just a theist. So
but in the end, but in the end, I look at it as this way, and that is my belief was that the Book of Mormon was translated by the power of God. So whether it was by seer stones, by a pair of paper thin glasses, by whatever it was, it doesn't matter to me, because in the end, that's what it was, and that's what I have today, and I'm good with that.
Well, my main problem with a lot of the Book of Mormon is the fact that a lot of it is lifted directly from the Bible, from the King James Version of the Bible. There's like a preponderance of stuff that can be listed as, it was this line of this book was taken from here and placed there kind of thing. But that's not the main thing that I have an issue with. The problem that I have is Richard Dawkins' problem with this is that it's a book that was found in the 19th century that was spoken as if it was a book that was translated in the 17th century from the King James Version of the Bible.
That was supposedly written in what century?
I don't remember exactly what it is. See, we're terrible atheists when it comes to numbers. And
But it was translated in the 17th century, so it was translated in the 1800s.
But why did the LDS Church, or I don't know if it still does, why did they use the King James Version of the Bible, which is shown to have massive amounts of errors in it? Translation errors.
and actually one of our articles of faith says therein we believe the Bible to be the Word of God as far as it is translated correctly. So the version we have is of the belief that it is
big
correct.
book, multiple choice. There we go.
It is the most correct of the available Bibles that there are.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is actually something that got me kicked out of church when I was a kid.
Okay.
So the question I had posed multiple times to my
what does God need with the starship?
No, the question I had posed to my Sunday school teachers when this came up, when they said so long as it's translated correctly, the question I had was, how can we know whether the Bible was translated correctly if we don't have the original text in the original language?
Which again
we don't have Aramaic. We don't have the original letters from Paul. I mean,
and that was literally like all I asked. That was what I asked, and I was asked to leave the room.
You look at the building of the Bible, especially the Old Testament, about you have the multiple authors that wrote different sections of it, and it makes me wonder how a polytheist Jewish sect of religion, which became monotheist after time, which descended into people creating what they call the what do they call them, the gospel according to whatever disciple is writing it at the time, which wasn't actually written by that disciple. It might have they in one book they say that it was dictated by. Okay, wonderful. But at the same time, a lot of the gospels that came after that were and are directly copied from that original one.
Right.
I mean, when you look at old theology, it's really fascinating stuff, because we're trying to step. I mean, you don't see any historical record of Jesus until like I think 70 or 80 AD, after the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem.
Roughly, give or take.
Yeah, which is fascinating to me, because you would think that the dead people in the city coming to life and wandering the streets after his resurrection would create a little bit more of a stir than it really did. You would think, and I don't mean to belittle your faith at all here.
Right. No, I understand.
But to me, it just seems like for something as miraculous and as amazing as that there would be more of a historical record for it, because we don't really see anything of Jesus until, I mean, like anything near contemporary, and I can't remember what the guy's name is, but damn it, I have to Google it real quick. Anyway, Kyle, fill in.
As far as translations go, so what had brought that up for me was when I had realized that there were multiple translations of the Bible.
Right.
Once I had realized there were multiple translations, I had asked the question of why are there multiple translations, and why do we use this one, and how do we know this is the right one? And really, the closest I ever got to an answer was, well, you kind of have to pray about it.
Right.
But, I mean, I always felt that was kind of a cop-out of an answer, because I was also told on the same token that you had to pray correctly.
Okay. So we have Josephus, who wrote about Jesus during the 1st century, and then we have Tacitus, which wrote in the 2nd century.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which, to me, okay, anything from 001 to 100, and then like 12 months is considered 1st century, but I think it's around, Josephus wrote about him in 93 to 94 AD.
Right. And
which, if he lived to wherever he lived, that was 60 years after the death of Jesus, which is a fucking eternity.
Yeah.
Back then.
When 30 years old.
Again, all of this goes back to, like I said a minute ago, with the article of faith, and this is where a founding faith, founding belief comes into play, and that is that the Bible has been through its translation murderous run, if you will be, and that's why we take on the Book of Mormon the way it is. It becomes a companion scripture. It's not a replacement, nor is it, in any way, it's not a replacement, but rather it's a companion scripture that helps to. I'm trying to use the right words here, but
ancient tribe of Israel populated the Americas.
Yeah.
Even though there's no genetic evidence of that.
I would refute that, but yeah.
Okay. Horses mentioned in the Book of Mormon. Horses weren't introduced into the Americas until the 14 or 1500s.
Yeah, I would still refute that too, because I mean, just as
evidence
much
of iron, steel, and all sorts of other stuff that would require forges, foundries, and would be able to be found at stuff like Hill Cumorah, where supposedly this battle happened.
Right.
Why is there no what is it? Not architecture. What is it? It's fuck, I forgot the word. Why is there no evidence of this stuff existing? Why do we have no
archaeological or anthropological evidence? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't know, but
if you want to say that it's faith versus whatever, that's fine, because that's where atheists and theists have to disagree, because we don't rely on faith.
Agreed.
We rely on rely on evidence in our skepticism. So
agreed, and that was the next step I was going to say is is atheists and yeah, you said it, and I'm very horrible with my lingo here, but you can spend all the way the things you want to do in trying to prove evidence-wise that none of this existed or that any of this ever took place. And maybe not, maybe not. Sometimes you're going to prove that, and it's true. But
but you can see where we're coming from in the same case.
Absolutely.
We have a standard of evidence that is much more than a feeling. We can't rely on just feelings or faith or, having that burning in the bosom kind of thing that a lot of people talk about,
Agreed.
I need somebody. I mean, I talked about the person in the family that I went on vacation with, where I was talking about theology and everything, where they said, well, if they came out tomorrow with evidence that God was a real person, would you worship him? And I said, absolutely not. And they're like, why not? I'm like, because he was a complete asshole for the first, for a good portion of our history as human beings. And if it is a case where, if you believe that, that the world, the universe, and everything that was created took a long time to get to the point where it was. Do you have a problem with evolution?
Some aspects I do, but most of it no. I believe that we are that we do evolve. There are, like I said, there's some aspects of the theories of evolution that I just don't go with. No.
And see, that's another disconnect that we have here, because with the human genome that we have here, we can show that we are part of Homo erectus, Neanderthal. We have those genetic markers within our history. When you look at ape DNA versus human DNA, you can see the missing gene that we have, or the missing chromosome that we have between apes and humans, that has a centromere and telomere, and it's connected all together. Like, you can actually see on the chromosome for humans where it would have been a split chromosome for apes. And
so let me present. So let me present this to you, and we could go all night like this, and I could have a blast going all night.
We're gonna call it quits here in a minute, but
let me present this to you. What if the thought here is that God created the earth and used matter to create that earth scientifically, and that matter he may have gathered from different corners of the universe, and we don't know what that matter contained, whether it contained evidences of life from apes or of somewhere else to come to this earth to create.
That sounds a lot like, to me, where you have the scientific theory of panspermia, where you have life coming from other places outside of the earth, which is the current prevailing method that people are thinking of. If we can't find a way,
that's one viable hypothesis.
If we can't find the evidence for abiogenesis, which they're currently really working really hard at that.
They're actually really, really close on that. They've already been able to synthetically replicate RNA.
I do agree with the whole panspermia thing, because something could be hitching a ride from another destroyed planet, or some sort of giant asteroid could have hit Mars and sent a rock our way, which could have had one surviving yeast on it, and that one yeast, if it came to this planet, had nothing to fight against. It would fucking thrive,
Right. And like I said, I mean, yeah.
But the thing is, but the problem I have there, Alan, is that when you throw God into the mix, or you throw whatever you want to say, some sort of higher power, it just complicates things. It makes it more complicated than it needs to be. When people talk about how if God has always existed, and then I think about, okay, well, if the universe has always existed, why complicate it more with a higher level being? Because that just makes it even harder, because what created that person? Well, it always existed. Well, in the same breath, and it makes it a lot easier, why not say the universe has always existed?
You know what? I'll tell you, I get is just as mind blown. Because I will tell you, you know what? And this is where I try and just dumb it back down for myself and go back to simplicity. Even within the gospel, there is a form of simplicity. Because if I spent, and let me tell you, I have spent many times alone just thinking to myself, okay, so I have a Heavenly Father. So where did he come from? Who was his father? And how far back do we go? And what about this universe? It's totally mind-blowing. And then I go and watch, Men in Black. All right. So yes, I just brought Men in Black into this subject. I'm just seeing the mind-blowing things are going. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, I could sit and totally psych myself out with all this mind-blowing crap, or mind-blowing stuff, or mind-blowing great stuff, whatever it is, and sit there and spend my life going, wow. And so sometimes I will do that. And then sometimes when I do it, I just take myself and slap myself in the face and say, dude, just dumb it back down. Get back to the simplicities that are in front of you, and know that everything's going to be just fine. And you know what? I have if he really doesn't exist, then there's a whole lot of people, myself included, that are going to find that out at the end of this life. But I kind of like the idea of having a little bit of purpose to my life, and believe that there's something out there ahead of me that I'm going to see at the end of my life. What is it?
But wouldn't you agree that there's a lot of people that are currently living a half-life right now, thinking that there is going to be something afterward, that they could be spending living life now?
Living.
They're not enjoying life to the fullest.
Yes and no, because at the same token, I look at myself going, I'm 41 right now. Okay. And so according to our mortality rate, I'm pretty much half my life's over.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Half my life's over. Well, hell, man, I'm going to die in another 40 years. I'm going to die. And then I start thinking to myself, No, I'm not. I'm going to have some fun, man. I've got a whole life ahead of me. I might live centuries and don't even realize it. So why not enjoy what I have right now and enjoy it, fully enjoy it, knowing that I'm going to have an opportunity to enjoy something else down the road. So no, I'm not selling myself short. I'm enjoying every last bit of what I have right now and believing that
you do agree that there are people, probably within your own ward,
yes,
that are currently living a hobbled life thinking that there's something afterward.
Yeah.
Because there, I mean, like you said, you have your Sunday or your Mountain Dew to get you by kind of thing. And for atheists, we're just like, Mountain Dew? Wow, okay. You know?
Yes. I realize how funny that sounds, but yes, no, you're right.
No, that's fine. But at the same time, we're like, for a lot of us, especially Utah-based people, where they live the word of wisdom and everything, and they never have the strong beverage. They never enjoy their coffee.
Which
they
I never
never
have.
had.
I never have.
And
let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. I am glad.
Since you don't know, you don't know what you're missing, and I have to say that because as a representative of someone who does consume this stuff, it's like you are missing, and you don't. It's the guy that's standing in one aisle of a library thinking, "Wow, look at all these books." When someone's going, "Yeah, but look how fucking huge this building is," you know.
Yes,
and
but on the same token, I look at you guys and I say, you know what, you're enjoying it, and I think that's great. But in those times when you're drunk and I'm not, and I get a chance to remember some of the fun things I did during those moments when you're drunk, and the next morning I realize you're not going to remember them. I go, dude, look what you're missing out on, bro. You're missing out on something because tomorrow you're not going to remember it, and I'm going to remember every last minute of it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I got a thing called an iPhone nowadays. And that
you can. So I love to.
And also, I have not been that drunk in a really fucking long time.
So I love to call back on things that got me either kicked out of church or seminary class.
Right.
But we were having one of these discussions. I believe it was in one of my early seminary classes. It was they were bringing in the word of wisdom and the list of things that you're not allowed to do,
right?
And the list of things that they don't want you to do. And I'm sitting here in the back of the class, like you do, and I had to ask. It's like, okay, so this one person created everything, right? So he created all these things and then said, but I don't want you to do those, or take those, or drink those, or do these things. Then why did he make them?
And
I mean,
what
if you get to that point where he's like, I made all these fun things for you guys to do. Why didn't you do them? It's like yeah, if it's all yeah, and I think this is me like at 13 years old going, it's like, look, if he gave us all these fun things, it's like, look, if he gave us these fun things attached to our bodies that are kind of fun to play with, why would he be mad about us actually using them?
Because every sperm is sacred.
It's like this doesn't make sense to me.
Every sperm is good. Every sperm is needed.
Look, don't sing that song. Look, if you're gonna sing a song, I already mentioned a song off topic earlier for your Patreons. Why can't you just bring up Green Day's All by Myself? Okay, just go there.
No, it's all by myself.
No one was looking. I was all by myself.
I always thought it was like it's like you give your kid 50 toys and then tell him he can only play with 10 of them.
But
that's fucked up.
And then be mad when he plays with the other ones.
Let me offer something to you, and this can open a world, and like we just said, we could go on all night about this, but let me offer to you, what if he didn't create all of them? He created the things that are used to make them, but then man himself maybe put some of these things together, and he allowed it to happen. Why? Because he allows cause and effect. He allows us to create things. He allows us to do things. Why? Maybe for our own learning experience. I believe that wholeheartedly. But whether or not that's, something that makes sense to everybody or not is different. But cause and effect. He allows things to take place. He allows things to be created so that maybe he can use those as teaching moments. Guess what? I do that with my kids. I do that with my own kids. I'll let my kid burn themselves. Why? Because it's a perfect opportunity for me to stop and say, now you know what it's like, so you're not going to do that again, right?
Right. But do you then punish your kids for trying it?
No.
Well,
I mean, not,
that's where I always got hung up. That's where I got hung up because
you get an infinite amount of punishment, and then this isn't the case for the LDS religion. I realize that,
not entirely.
You get
an infinite,
you get an infinite amount of a punishment, which is burning in hell for all time and eternity. This is me going on Southern Baptist kind of thing here, perishing in the lake of fire kind of thing, because you don't believe in God. A finite crime of something that I'm using my. If it's according to them, my God-created brain that is used to reason using his laws and his reasons and logic and everything, that I don't believe in the thing, that I'm going to be sent to hell for believing it. It's like to me, it does not add up enough. And when it comes to,
I agree.
When it comes to you guys talking about the stuff here, okay, if he is all powerful and all knowing, if he's omniscient, omnipresent, and what the hell's the other one? I always forget the third one is. But he is a guy that created evil. Why didn't he make a creation without evil, if that's the case? Why do we have to toil? Why do we have to be in a failed world in order to...
But see, I don't know that I believe he created evil, though, either. Because I believe that evil... It says in the Bible. It says in the Bible.
But I believe, and we've already discussed our thoughts on the Bible, so let's not go there. But when it comes down to it, I believe that God is held to a strict law himself, where there is a law of opposition in all things. There is a good for a bad. There is a bad for a good. And when he created life, he created life with the intent for agency, and for us to have the opportunity to make a choice. And because of that choice, we're going to have to make a choice, both good and or bad. And he can't take away the negative aspect. He can't take away the bad. Why? Because we have to have that option to choose, so that we can know the difference between the good and the evil. And
okay,
so I'm going off on a tangent, and I promise Kyle I would never do this. So I'm not going to.
Let me ask this one here. In the great hereafter, is there still free agency?
I believe that well, let's take free out of it, because that's a misconception that's always said. It's not free agency, it's agency.
If there's still agency to make a choice between this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
Is there still that in the afterlife?
Yes, I believe that.
So evil exists in the afterlife.
I don't know if I believe that, though. Because for example, because for that example, I go back to Satan. I believe that the evil came about, the agency, the evil, or Satan as we know it, came about because of agency, because he made a choice, and that choice was wrong.
In the LDS religion, Jesus and Lucifer are brothers, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Elohim created Satan and Jesus, but they were his spirit children, correct?
But at the time he created them, Satan wasn't bad. It was a choice he made. It was a choice he made.
At the same time, as a father figure, can he not punish that person? Can he not punish that child? Can he not do something?
Which he did. He sent him away.
Okay, but at the same time, can't he? As a all-powerful, I just worry, because there's this whole, the omniscient, omnipresent, and omnibenevolent. There we go, third one.
And again, Chris, I see where you're coming from. I do. Yeah. And that's the difference you'll find between me and many others. Is a lot of people are going to say, you know what, dude, I don't understand where you're coming. No, I get it.
And that's great. Where you're coming from. I would appreciate that answer. I appreciate that answer more than anything as an atheist, saying, I don't know. Because that's what I like to fall back on when someone asks me, well, where'd the universe come from? You're like, fuck, I don't know.
Well, and
I can't wait till we find out, but
Thank you. And I don't know. I can't wait to find out. I can't wait to live this life out and see what happens thereafter. But you know what?
My problem, though, Alan, is that instead of saying, I don't know, you're saying, I don't know, but this says this is the most likely thing because this is what we believe. But at the same time, it comes with a whole different set of rules and regulations and everything. But it's saying that at one point, like, because you said that God created the universe. Me saying, I don't know, isn't saying that I don't know, but maybe this happened. It's saying, I don't know. And until I come up with the proper evidence of it, but religion comes up with it saying, I don't know, but my book says God did it.
Right.
And that's the big disconnect between the two major camps of thinking there.
And in the end,
but yours isn't so much as a evidence based on, empirical, quantitative, and everything else. Yours is more of a feeling.
Exactly.
And I can't go off feelings, and I think Kyle's the same way. We can't work off of emotion.
And I find no fault with that whatsoever. I don't. Yeah. I understand it. I understand it.
To do a quick callback to the agency thing, if God gave us that agency, why are there multiple instances of him hitting the reset button? Like with the Great Flood. Yeah. Why did he say, okay?
This isn't turning out the way I want.
Yeah, we're starting over.
Fuck these people.
He killed,
reset.
And you know what?
Everybody.
I don't know the answer to that either. There are things I just don't know the answer to, and maybe someday I'm going to find those out, but I don't know.
That one never made sense to me.
Huh?
That one just never made sense to me. Why did he find it necessary to kill all those children?
My thing in the end is, for me too, is if I spend too much time trying to disprove it, or too much time trying to understand why this and why that, then I forget about one thing, and it goes back to one thing you said, Chris. If I do all of my life doing that, then I miss out on living. Why do I need to worry about some of those trivial matters when I can live my life as is and keep going?
Well, and this is the last I'm going to say about it, but when you start thinking about the whys and the how comes and the stuff that me and Kyle are talking about here, where we go, why was there a giant reset button? Why is there no archaeological evidence for this stuff? Why is there not this? Why is there not that? It poked enough pinholes into whatever faith or belief that we had at the time where we're like, this isn't I don't think this is a good way of spending my life, wondering about, this stuff that I have no proof for. Right. People may believe it. That's great and everything. But at the same time, I'm going to choose to live my life by any set of rules that is handed down patriarchally or, from any place on high. I'm going to live life by evidence, by science, by, being a skeptic. And
you're still a damn good dude regardless.
Oh, and I agree. And it's same to you as someone that's a theist, but at the same time, it's like when I don't know how more people, and I'm not saying this belittling or anything like that, because I understand you've been brought up LDS your whole life, you did the whole mission thing, you've done temple work, I'm sure you've done the whole gamut of everything.
I have.
And so you're in and you're invested. I get it. I really do get it. But at the same time, there's enough stuff that just pokes and pokes and pokes and pokes enough. I just wonder when people just shirk it off and go, I don't know. That makes me go, no, keep question things, keep questioning things, but that they might attribute that themselves to the whole, the great that great adversary saying, oh yeah, poke holes in your stuff. But I don't know. I have a hard time with people not being able to, as I see it, be honest with themselves when it comes to stuff. I mean, when I don't know, I don't put up a Band-Aid, and I don't mean to be mean to you, but this is an atheist show. Put up a Band-Aid of faith saying, well, it's just something I feel deep down inside, and it's something that you won't believe in. It's a faith thing to me. It's something that I can't explain to you. I don't like Band-Aids. I like ripping off Band-Aids. I like being able to go, you know what? I don't need this crutch. There, I put it aside. Like I put aside all of my Christian upbringing. Unfortunately, it still affects me a lot of ways, but but I put a lot of it aside, and I go, you know what? I believe that, and that's the key word there. I believe I am living a more full life without religion.
Well, and like you said, it goes back to a feelings-based thing. It really does.
Exactly.
And when it comes down,
when you strip all the covers off of everything either one of us have talked about here, it comes down to a ultimate. I believe in empiricism. You believe in faith. That's the biggest thing there. And
exactly.
So, except mine has evidence.
Oh, stop it. You know what? I knew there was a last word coming in here from you. You know what?
Dallin Oaks. Let's get to Dallin Oaks.
This is why I love both of you. Can I just tell you that? That's why I love both of you, because you guys like to stick in those last words for the hell of it, and it's funny. So.
You say whatever you want. We have a fossil record.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, we've got DNA. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm messing with you. So Dallin Oaks is talking about Kim Davis, a good little Kim Davis here. So he's saying that public officials are not free to apply personal convictions, religious or other, in the place of defined responsibilities of their public offices. So everybody golf claps for that. Yay, that makes sense to us. That's what everybody else has been saying.
Right.
So Davis's attorney, Matt Staver, fired back at Oaks, and he said in a statement to the Associated Press that any attempt to punish a person for the exercise of conscience is sinful. I'm sorry, I didn't think our court systems worked off of sin.
Yeah, not quite. No.
You know, jurisprudence doesn't have a fuck all to do with like whether this is good or bad. I mean, wait, not good or bad, but sinful or not sinful. That's a better term there. And then so Kim Davis has the right to represent her county as an elected official without violating her deeply held religious convictions. No. No, and even Dallin Oaks is saying no.
Yep, and he's 100% right too. So
Staver continues with all religious denominations in the Mormon. Comma there. Of all religious denominations, comma, the Mormon Church should understand the importance of protecting religious freedom. How sad the church officials have forgotten their history and the importance of protecting conscientious objectors.
No.
And so that's just a...
No, this goes back to an even bigger belief when it comes to the LDS Church, and that is we believe in sustaining and upholding the law of the land. And when the law of the land has made a decision, you stand by it. Sorry, I don't understand this other guy. I just don't.
What? I don't even blame the Mormon Church for a lot of the wacky laws that we have here regarding drinking and everything. That's not. I mean, there's not that many people that are being lobbied by the LDS Church. It's not that big of a lobby. I've read up on this kind of thing. But what the problem is that you have people of the faith within the government that are trying to put the white badge of courage on their chest, like, look at me, I'm saying no. You know, instead of representing their constituency, they're representing their faith.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the lobbyists for the church. It has to do with the fact that they think that's what the church wants.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it keeps going on. Conscientious objection and religious exemptions are part of our country's heritage, said Greg Johnson, chairman of Standing Together, a consortium of Utah's evangelical Christian churches. We have those here?
A few.
Yes, we do.
It's like right behind the donut place that I'm doing the show from. They actually have a church that's in the strip mall there. Makes me laugh. So when fighting in wars or endorsing or participating in marriage, you think does not honor God's design for marriage, such people have to be accommodated. Not if you're a public official. No.
And when the law has made a decision, you're required to uphold it. Sorry, you uphold the law.
And if you don't feel like you can uphold that law, you should resign.
Quit the job.
Yep.
Walk away. Yep. I completely agree.
And to finish it up here, Oak says, first, parties with different views on the relationship between the church and state should advocate and act with civility. We all lose when an atmosphere of anger or hostility or contention prevails.
Yep.
Said the guy that pushed for Prop 8. We all lose when we cannot debate public policies without resorting to boycotts, firings, or intimidation of our adversaries. Anyway. So yeah, we just wanted to bring up that last little topic there. It's like, it's very rare for me to agree with someone like Dallin Oaks, but at the same time, for me, he's a lot like the PR Pope. He says maybe he might be firing every like a 5% accuracy rate I mean, so when he hits a target and it's good, and everybody's like, "Oh, you should applaud for the guy." Like, no, because I don't agree with everything the guy says. And I mean, rarely in this world do you agree with like 100% of what everybody has to say. But when your accuracy rate is like 5%, I don't think I should have to applaud you, because, like, yeah, you're saying what, normal people would say. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say normal people. I should say socially acceptable. Fuck, I can't think of a good term for it.
You can say normal if you want to, because you know what? I'm not normal, and I'm damn proud of it. So there.
Well, and we all know that if you get into the quorum, especially in the apostleship like he is, you're not a normal person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't call
I prefer the word peculiar. I'm peculiar, okay? Just don't. No.
You don't want to say oddball.
All right, I'm good with that too. I'm an oddball. Fine.
And I realize that we have gone over on our time here. We have not had a chance to get into the Bremerton thing. So maybe Kyle and I will talk about that in the after show, along with the one thing that we need to bring up here in a second, the one video clip that I've been resigning for everybody. And I'll tell you right now, it's Pat Robertson.
Oh, all right. And on that note, then might be where I walk away, because Pat Robertson, no thank you.
Yeah, we are going to end this episode. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Like I said at the top of the show, come check us out, podhell.com. UO@podhell.com for email, 347-669-3377. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, just about everywhere you could think of Utah Outcasts. Just search for it on there. We have Patreon, Utah Outcasts, Cafe Press, Utah Outcasts, everywhere. Same thing across the board. Try to make it as easy as you possibly can. Anyway, we're going to catch you Patreons here in the after show. And until then, you guys have a good week, and you're welcome.
And thanks for joining us, Alan.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Appreciate it.
It was my pleasure, and I'm glad you guys had me on.
And I think somebody needs to finish it with a bon nuit.
Bon nuit.
No, but seriously, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I, you know how much respect I have for the both of you, so I don't mind talking about it. I was actually very nervous about this, and Kyle knows this because I talked to him. So
we'll catch you guys here in a second with the after show. And before we call it quits here, I have to give a special thanks to Robert and Lee for being the patrons this episode. We love you guys so very fucking much. You guys have no idea what your support and contributions mean to us. Thank you so much. And if you want to join them, why don't you go ahead and go to the Patreon page, patreon.com/Utah Outcasts, and donate even $1. It'd be great. Anyway, that's it for us. Have a good week.
I never will.
dear, what are you guys going to do to me tonight? Oh, boy.
We'll find out here in a minute.
We will break you.
I'm gonna be an asshole to you, but
No, whatever. You'll find that I don't get offended and I don't hate. And by the end of it, hey, it's all good. When it's over and done with, we move on.
it's entertainment.
We'll remind you
Yes.
in an hour or so that you said you wouldn't get offended.